Today was nuts.
No worry, we're gonna roast you as soon as this starts.
Don't worry. We gonna get you.
It's all good.
Ebontis is. I mean, I use Audacity for my videos. Like, I'm just gonna when you say go, I'm just gonna hit the record button, right, and just let it roll for 2 hours.
Yep, that's all you got to do. Biggest thing, just make sure it's just your mic recording for the podcast, and you're on mono for us. Yeah, just like make sure your proper mic is selected. I've had people had like webcam selected, so just make sure the proper mic selected. You're on mono, and then 48,000 hertz is typically what we do.
Line in. I could. Shouldn't I just do it? I could do a test run right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Now see, it's on because it's on mono. It's not picking it up.
Not picking up your mic source?
No. Hold on, let me try that again, but on stereo.
No doubt. No.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. No, it's not picking that up either.
That's why I was like, make sure the proper mic is.
Yeah, let me look again.
Travis, you okay over there?
Me?
Yeah. No, chat was just
I
like.
I know we've all had crazy days, but yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah. How you holding up, Trav?
I'm good. I'm good, man.
No doubt.
Like everyone else, it's been crazy back-to-back meetings. And
testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. All right, we got it picked up.
I got pulled into the great debate today. IGN is refurbishing their best 25 PC games.
Oh, that's an interesting list. Yeah, PCs.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of stuff on there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So if we want, you guys want to go ahead and hit the record button on Audacity? Everybody good for that?
Yep.
Yeah, man. Let me
hit that button.
Okay, we're recording.
All right, recording.
Cool. All righty.
You change backgrounds, Ebontis, when you week to week, or you do the same green screen image?
No, like the background for the podcast, I just tend to mix up whatever kind of feels like it's fitting for bits, or just typically Destiny background, just whatever works.
Okay. Cool.
Everybody sounding pretty good. Tweet should be out. Yep.
All right,
Tweet was scheduled, so it should just be there.
No doubt.
Right.
Yeah, if you guys want to knock out the retweet, that would always be appreciated.
Gotcha.
Yep. Unpin the previous.
Tweets out.
Did you crop us yet, Ebontis?
Oh, you're good. Yeah, you're already done.
That man's a professional.
If you want
I was going to say, he's good, Cog.
He's good, bro.
This guy, man.
I just show up and it's all done.
I was just
that's
say,
great.
That's
great.
That will have chat in it if you want to watch chat as well. Or look at chat with Tacolavos.
Well, it'll be live on YouTube as well, Ebontis, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to check it out there.
Yeah.
There we are.
Cool.
Do I need more light?
No, I can mess with you.
Good.
I might need a little more light.
Hold that. See, I can do it on my end. I was
like that, Cog? Now I'm like, somebody get makeup in here?
Makeup on aisle 4.
Makeup quick?
No, see, I can
And a
make
slice
you
of
brighter.
cheese.
I'm just trying
Hold
to
on.
mess with your green screen too. So
I can get this up a little bit.
Oh, boy, professional right now.
He is, right? Look at this. There we go. Let's get it. I can get it bright.
there you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
All right. Is that better?
Production values.
I can bring it down too.
Oh, you're good.
I got
You're
buttons
good.
all over the place, Cog.
Oh,
That man is ready. I love it.
This
man.
man.
That's much better. Yeah, now I'm saying I can actually see myself.
Mm-hmm.
I look like the man behind the curtain before. You know what I mean? Like, get that man out from behind the curtain, please.
All right.
Good
We will
right
get
now.
things
Looks like the
started.
man who's trying to sell somebody a curtain.
I do.
Yo, Attic in the chat roasted. He like,
Had it, yeah.
you got the Yankee tickets on deck. He was
He's like, can I get those
Can I
tickets,
get a
scalp
ticket
picks?
for the low Mooch?
yeah, for the low.
Yeah.
He said,
My
you
buddy
said you
right
got
there.
the Mooch.
That's my boy. Yo, Attic gave a great story. So are we live right now?
But hold on, let us get into the podcast and then we'll get going. So
There
all
we
right, we'll
go.
go silence
All right.
on the set in 5, 4.
All right. And we are live. The last word, LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy Travis, fresh on that Thursday evening Destiny campfire. Nice little special guest debut that we're going to get into. But before we do that, let's talk with the cheetah himself, Ebontis. How we doing, sir?
Doing good. Still insanely hooked on Elden Ring. Literally don't want to play anything else. Did get my raids in for Tuesday, though. Got my Insidious crafted.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got that many joints?
Last
Many,
week
flavors?
I got 2, bought 1. This week I ended up getting a couple. I ended up with like 6 red outline ones. So it is crafted. Yeah. So it's been rolling. So the Insidious is crafted. I haven't leveled it up yet because I've still been playing a lot of Elden Ring, but the crafting is done.
Nice.
We got raids done. Normal raid we're getting down. Challenge this week. I'll save my thoughts on that one.
No doubt.
But yeah, not loving the challenges so far, but we'll get to that a little bit later when we kind of get to the Destiny chat. But yeah, Elden Ring, level 89. I think I'm right around 60 hours. I have still so much more to do. It's insane. I love this game, though. Can't stop playing. Travis, I'll save the good stuff for later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been super busy at IGN doing a bunch of stuff. Last week I did GDC coverage, so some of the games that I did previews for that weren't out yet are now or hadn't been announced yet have been announced. So you can see some stuff on IGN.com I wrote. And then yeah, just ramping up for a bunch of coverage coming down the line. I can't talk about most of it.
Exclusive. Drop that exclusive.
I am weirdly doing a raid guide for Destiny for IGN.
What?
I guess they want to try their hands at that, so they're having me to put together a vow of disciple raid.
You do the
guide.
symbol? You do the symbol call outs? Please tell me you do the symbol call out.
See, at some point I gotta put one of those together, but I haven't got to it either. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm doing that this week. Actually, it's supposed to be due tomorrow for Destin, but we'll see if I make that deadline. But yeah, doing a bunch of content and grinding it out, man. It's been a lot of fun. I've been playing a little bit of Tiny Tina. Finished Elden Ring on Sunday, which I think I maxed out at 150 plus hours or something in that game. So it was crazy.
Nice.
And yeah, it's been cool. Now I'm really excited about Weird West, which came out today. Which
mixed stuff on that. I'll be curious what you say about that.
Well, I had a chance to review it, but I have a conflict because I'm pretty good friends with the creative lead. Lucas,
little flex right there, little flex.
He's not really a flex.
I'm pretty good friends.
More just I'm crossing my fingers that it's good. So for his sake. So we'll see.
No doubt.
What about you, Cog? Insanity of the week.
Yeah, it's been crazy, man. It's been absolutely crazy. Just recorded 2 good Defining Dukes. One that just came out. I mean, one that's going to come out, and then one that I had Chris Raygun and a certain cheetah from The Last Word doing we snuck them in for a full spoiler cast, and it was really good. I don't know when they're going to drop that. I don't see what's up with Colin on that when they're going to do that, but I'm excited for that, man.
That was a fun chat.
That was fun.
I got to guess. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun because he was like, because basically, I'm full disclosure, but Trav, my plan is to get you on too. Like, I'm getting the fam, I'm getting the homies on at some point. Yeah. So I just got to figure out the pockets. You know what I'm saying? I think for Trav, honestly, where I want you is like a Star Wars thing or something like that. So really let you shine and I let you go. But I was proud. Like I just let E go, and I was like, look at my
boy.
Was it
for? What game was
we did Witch Queen.
We did Witch Queen. So we had Chris Raygun, we had Ebontis. I don't know when it's gonna drop, so I don't know when that's gonna happen. But it was a fun episode, and then me and Maddie just recorded something for Duke. That was fun, and then man, just been grinding, brother. Just been a lot of stuff going on. But enough about that. We got a patient celebrity guest.
Yes. Let's bring him into the podcast.
Come on, let's bring him in.
All right, welcome,
my man.
So The Last Word, episode number 191. This week, Bungie struck back at the world of the internet. PlayStation is changing their game a bit, and more games continue to get delayed. The gaming world is full of news, and we have a guest tonight who has his finger on the pulse of the industry every day. A gamer before he could probably dress himself, and ColecoVision started his journey long, long ago. This veteran gamer has enjoyed tight action platformers, third-person emotional stories, fun adventures to tough challenges. His history is really full of variety when it comes to games. An East Coast man who sounds like he was born with a voice for the airwaves, and you'd swear he'd been on TV, and if not, someday he probably will be. And honestly, it would be very cool to see him on TV, because he looks like he's just going to be that East Coast guy. If you cross sports radio with a love for gaming, you will find this man hosting the Crossfire podcast. Always surrounded by a hilarious mix of personalities. They will be talking about the gaming news of the week with likely a hot take from every angle due to the diverse cast that he always has. So let's welcome a man who knows how to hustle as the restaurant business can only teach, and a warlock who fears FOMO more than anything else. The one, the only, Mr. Mooch. How you doing tonight, sir?
Buddy, what an intro, man. I got to be honest with you. I didn't know if this was the last word or Mooch, this is your life. That was fantastic. Ebontis, I found another calling card for you too. Listen, this is an outstanding thing. There's a lot of podcasts I've been on, but and Cognito knows this. I've been on ILP. You guys know about Crossfire, right? But this show, man, Ebontis runs a hell of a ship. And let me just tell you guys what I'm talking about. He handed me a homework assignment.
Yeah, bro. Did you get
Listen, I got a pen with a cheetah on it, and he said, you go sit in that corner, and when you're done filling it out, I'll let you know when you come on the show. This was phenomenal. Unbelievably organized. I love it. And Cognito, shame on me for not having Travis and Ebontis on the show yet. They will be on Crossfire very soon. But I want to say this much. Cognito, you've been on Crossfire enough times. I always do a dignified type of schedule. I do topics. I send them out ahead of time. I try to give everybody the intro so they know how to go in. I thought I had it down. But if I ever do get to do late night TV, like I told my guidance counselor years ago, okay, Ebontis is going to be my guy. He's going to be my guy. So I want to say, honestly, thank you to everybody. Shout out to Fork Boy. Shout out to the great Lord Addict that's here as well.
Salute.
And just so you guys know, I heard Cognito say he's going to get Travis and he's going to get Ebontis on his show, Defining Duke. But what he doesn't realize is this, okay? There's one thing that I got that these guys don't got. Access to a lot of pizza. Nobody turns the pizza guy down at the door. If I walk in behind Travis, I got 3 pies, I'm on the show. It's over.
All right, this is what you got to do. This is how you solidify your position.
How do we do
it? You just
it?
got to say New York pizza is superior to Chicago pizza, and it's a go.
New York pizza is superior to Chicago pizza, and you can stamp it, and you can put it on a shirt. I don't care. That's the truth.
That's right.
Absolutely. But I want to say thanks to everybody for having me on this show. Looking forward to the topics. And just, and you guys know, I do love Destiny, but I did let the panel know that I haven't played Witch Queen yet because of the great things that Travis was just saying. I've been playing a lot of Horizon Forbidden West, been playing a lot of Elden Ring, and also been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which I wish they named it something else, but the game is still fantastic. The game is really a lot of fun. Right? Yeah, Ebontis, don't give me that. That's not my fault.
No. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at chat right now.
Oh, okay.
So we got a couple super chats real quick. I'm gonna go Forte first. Are my eyes deceiving me? Is that Mooch? Look at this handsome devil. Looking forward to all the yelling on the show tonight. Absolutely. But don't hate on Destiny. And then we got TP Hayden here with the $5 super chat. Does Ebontis have some advanced UG with the Earth Sauce tonight? I hate that is actually that didn't make it a week, and we're back with the Earth Sauce.
Travis got that going.
Earth Sauce, by the way, is water. For anyone who's wondering what the hell they're talking about, somehow this happened the last time. I have my pickiness when it comes to eating, and all of a sudden. Thank Travis for Earth Sauce, and then thank Nope for keeping it going, because I think it was maybe an hour later on Twitter I was already being crucified. So thanks guys for the super chats, and Fork Boy, he did say can't stay long, still in surgery. Shout out to him for that $10 super chat. Keep up the great content, and Mooch. So
yes, look, man, good to have Mooch in the building. Long overdue.
Appreciate that.
Been a Destiny fan, play a little bit with him. But before we get into that, obviously, it's some new people at the camp. I never heard of the Mooch, what's going on. So real quickly, I know we had that Coleco talk. Just a brief overview, what I'm saying, from the gaming perspective, from an OG perspective. What I'm saying? What kind of excited you into gaming first?
It's funny because you got to attribute it to the family, right? So the family was kind of into it. Everybody kind of dug it. So in all honesty, my pops, he loved it, right? Dad loved it. Did he game? No, but he was very accepting of it. You know what I mean? He really kind of got into it. He had no problem with the family kind of enjoying that extracurricular activity. Pardon my wording, but to be honest with you, I put ColecoVision to sound ancient, right? I put that down there to sound ancient, but really I'm an NES guy, and I know that we hear a lot of people are really hardcore Sega, and that's fine. I think Sega, in all honesty, I had a Sega Genesis as well later on.
I went
But in all
NES,
honesty-
you went Sega. It's good to have balance.
Yeah, but
That's all.
don't you shake your head, David.
See?
Listen,
Well,
the fanboy. I admit that was my fanboy cog days, and
Yeah.
I got to get over that.
I was like,
It was a
if I
contentious
like,
time.
if I blink
recovering
wrong,
fanboy.
if I blink wrong, he's
Yeah,
gonna punch
recover.
me through the
Yeah,
Discord
like-
chat. I'm like, Sega, what's boom? Oh God.
To Mooch's credit, he's right because look, all full disclosure, NES was the wave. It was the
It really
de facto. It really was. To be a Sega kid at the time was tough. So I still have those bruises. I still have the. But continue. This is your story. It's your story.
No. Please, by the way, chime in whenever you guys want. But I got to tell you, the reason that I say this, though, do you know what really sold it? Think about it for a second. I don't care if you were playing Atari. I don't care if you're playing Coleco. I don't care how old you want to go back into your retro years. The minute you saw the gold cartridge, right? That's it. That's all.
Oh yeah.
It's all.
Yeah.
So this is what the next generation is, and it was. And I just was a Nintendo guy all the way through my youth, right? So really got into it that way. But to be honest with you, it's just, man, I think it's the best pastime. And here I am at this age now. I'm still enjoying it to this day. And this is the thing. And I'm sure everyone that's listening now or becoming a parent later, okay? Enjoying video games with the family has been an outstanding experience. And to bring gaming into the household and to be, it doesn't matter. We played It Takes Two together, right? Split screen.
good.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of some of the games. Even, people gave it a lot of crap, but Bug Snacks, I don't care. We're talking about this gen. I'm trying to bring it all the way from NES to today, right? So realistically, it's just an amazing, amazing pastime that I truly believe that, and I'll give credit where credit's due. Jeff Keighley, for example, right? Jeff Keighley went and did his thing with the VGAs.
Mhm.
And I truly believe that this industry needs that recognition. I truly believe that we need that recognition, right? Because it went from talking about gaming like quietly to your buddy at work,
Rage. We was the geeks. We was
now-
the nerds.
right? And now you got
We still
people that
are.
you never saw wearing shirts.
Nah, we cool now. Everybody
representing-
want me.
Right
Mhm.
now, everybody's a gamer. And
Everybody
listen, you know
want to
what?
be like us, Trav.
I welcome them. I say, come on in. That's fine. The more, the merrier. But at the same time, it was tough when we were younger because people weren't. It wasn't the cool thing to do. So it's hard to really say how besides the fact the family to say I got into it. That was the main reason. But I never stopped. And when you go to with those Halo tournaments in college, right? You got that. Then you got everything from. We made drinking games out of Mario Kart. Okay, I don't care what you're talking about. It happened.
Yes.
So,
sir.
just a lot of good memories there, man. And I'm glad that the community exists today. I'm glad that podcasts exist. I'm not saying that because I'm just on this one, right? I'm glad they exist to spread the word, and I'm hoping that a younger generation picks up where we leave off, Cog and Ebontis and Travis. Like, I hope that they pick up where we leave off and keep this industry alive and rolling. Because like I said, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit tonight. The industry's changing.
Yeah.
Okay, the industry is changing. And I'm not going to say that one is better than the other, but I will say that we have two main companies in Microsoft and PlayStation, right? Or Xbox and PlayStation, both making games, but both taking a different avenue towards success. Not one, I think they can coexist personally.
Mhm.
But I'm interested to hear what the rest of the panel has to do when we get to that, by the
I
way.
was
of
like,
course.
and
But,
Nintendo's walking around the party with a dunce cap on at
Well-
the time, but that's fine.
Hey.
they always do
Hey.
what they want to do.
No,
You know?
no, believe me, it's like they make good like Kirby came out and like people love the game, but then you see with some of the stuff they do with copyright takedown on like a 1994 Super Mario guide and weird. It's just they always, and it took them 4 years to turn on Bluetooth audio on the Switch. You love them and you hate them at the same time. It's just Nintendo. They always they put out a game. You're like, this is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and it's also going to be generally very polished, like Metroid Dread. I loved that game.
Yeah.
Absolutely, so good. Loved that game. That was like that grew climbed my list really fast until I beat it right before the end of the year on a holiday trip. But man, then when they finally were like, "Hey, yeah, we turned it on," I was like, "We turned it on with what? Firmware update." It took you 4 years to give me Bluetooth audio. Now I can just go, bing, and that's all it took. I was almost beside myself. But no, I mean, gaming is. Travis might be the youngest one here, but we've all been around for a while and played way more games than we should. And again, I started on the NES. I remember my parents got it and then they rented just golf. No, anybody's just golf, just NES golf, how that thing looked. I spent, 10, 12 hours when I was a kid playing Mario 3 and my parents were wondering if I was okay. All those types of things, very, very cool. But no, gaming is one of those hobbies. I'm hoping as developers grow up with us, which a lot of them are, you're kind of seeing the change in the themes of some games and that nature, that gaming continues. They make old people games, because when I get old, Dark Souls might be a little bit harder, but hopefully they have like old man Dark Souls so I can still play it. Shout out real quick to GK Bals. You guys are the bomb. Sending love. Thank you for that $20 super chat, by the way, as well. So a lot of love coming in chat tonight. Thank you guys very much. But it has been interesting. I want to start with Destiny, but we got some interesting variety topics, and we got a man of variety on the show, so we'll probably hit those in the second half, but we got some interesting ones. But first, wanted to see how much Destiny you guys have been playing this week. I know I can see sometimes you guys are playing Destiny, sometimes you're playing other stuff with Discord, but what have you guys been, Cog, Travis, Mooch? We'll be asking questions here for you too.
Well, listen, if you don't mind, Ebontis, while everybody's giving their Destiny takes, and I said this to Travis before the show, I said, hope you don't mind, I'm going to play the role of the reporter and be asking you guys some questions, because I have not been there for the last expansion or two. And that's shame on me, but I'm very interested to hear, and maybe if you guys don't mind while you're describing, I don't know if I'm sure your audience is well-versed in Destiny, but someone like myself, I'm interested to know, someone who has missed basically, starting
When's the last time you played?
It was before, what was the expansion before last?
Shadowkeep?
Before
Shadowkeep?
Shadowkeep I played.
Okay.
Did you play Beyond Light?
Beyond Light, I purchased it. I have it on all systems, right? I think I don't have it on PC, but I did buy it. I have it on PlayStation and Xbox. And played probably about 3/4 of what you should to get through the expansions campaign edition. But again, dropped the ball. And that's completely my fault. And honestly, I miss it.
Not
guys.
a big deal.
I'm very interested to hear. Exactly. So I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say and what you guys have been enjoying in the Witch Queen.
No doubt. Travis, set it off, man.
Yeah, I have been playing some Destiny, not a ton, just because PvP is a little. I don't know if you guys have been in the trial world, but it's Trials.
It's rough.
Trials has not been in its greatest state recently.
Yeah.
I've been doing the raid every week and that sort of thing, but there's also just a ton of games I've been behind on. So I just got over my almost life ruining addiction to Elden Ring because I beat it. So now that that's in the rear view, I'm open, able to play a little bit more diversity in my catalog. But I've still been logging on Destiny. I kind of like that there's not a mandatory, ritual to do every week where I've got to run and do all these. I can't remember what they were called. The seasonal activity, whatever that thing was called.
Oh, the PsiOps thing?
PsiOps.
Yeah.
PsiOps Battlegrounds. Yeah, totally remember that was. Anyway, it was a nice little story, but I'm kind of glad that we're taking a little break and they're probably working on some more content because redoing the same activity every week for 9 weeks is a little much for me. I think 4 was the right length, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever they ended up doing. So
no doubt. Yeah, jump in. I've been rocking, still been rocking. I did all my PsiOps stuff. I've been kind of actually working on crafting now. I've been working on some real good roles as far as. Remember what I told y'all, like, was it a week ago that I found the pulse that I'm just like wrecking people with in like PvP, and it was peace of mind. Apparently the role that I had is the God role, and now everybody's trying to get it and trying to craft it. So that was fun, messing around with that. I've been kind of doing the campaign stuff just to kind of get my alloys up and materials and mats and stuff like that. I have been playing a lot of PvP. I did shout out to Fuente. PvP, he saw me playing Trials. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, you're still playing PvP?
This is going to be quoted, and we're also after 5 minutes on a YouTube video. So currently Gaming 4T says PvP is ass, bro.
Yeah, that's what he said. Because I said, bro, I need the scout. And then they had a God roll linear. They had the Reed's Regret, which I realized I couldn't get after the fact, but that's another story.
Let's not misquote Gaming Forte. I believe he said PvP is a money, which I would agree with.
I was reading between the lines. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
He's saying it's a money, man. He loves PvP. So.
But to Mooch's question, it's been what you've missed now from Witch Queen. You owe yourself to do Witch Queen because this is prime campaign at its finest. Everything we've always wanted. It went from that was a decent story for Destiny. Like, it's a live service. For Destiny. Right?
That little
in the rest of the gaming world, they'd be like, nah, that's not it. That's okay that you got something, but No, this is the cohesive narrative. This is this is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ian.
No,
go
I
ahead.
mean, you and I literally spent about an hour and 40 minutes on Defining Dude Ultimate. Please, guys, if you want to check that episode out, hit that $5, get you that early access for what they drop, but also gets you access to the Ultimate and Sacred Symbols Plus. But we spent an hour and 40 minutes talking about it. Me, Chris, you, all of us were at this point where this campaign is not, as you said, hey, it's a pretty good one for Destiny. It's like, no, this is one of the better first-person shooter campaigns I've played. Period.
Yeah.
It is
Mooch,
it's
So
that
do,
good.
so do you guys recommend this as a solo play? Is this a solo play?
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Sure,
Yes.
Okay.
And they actually set up the missions to scale as a solo player or as a trio. So it's
that speaks a lot to what you're saying, because I did feel with Beyond Light that I did start playing it solo, and I just enjoyed the amount that I did play with friends, because I thought that the story kind of it wasn't capturing me. It didn't bring me in. And I've heard, by the way, I do know that you guys speak the truth, because everybody said what you guys said about Witch Queen, that this was the defining expansion piece. And would you go as far as to even say to gamers who haven't played Destiny, this is the time to enter if you have not yet?
From a campaign story, this is the greatest.
That is.
There's a big asterisk. Yeah, there's a big asterisk on that.
The campaign standpoint, it is the greatest story they have told from Destiny. Period. Now, to Travis and Ebontis' point, there's still other aspects of the game that are suffering, right? But as far as that campaign, yes, the way it led into the raid and then everything else that happens after the fact, and Savathun as a villain, it's just, and what they set up, the lore, I don't want to spoil, but the lore is going in a place that it is such a payoff from everything that you've already known, because you've been there from the beginning, Mooch.
Absolutely.
So you know the basics of it, and to see what they do with it, and it's just so excellently put together. Like, this is a meaty game and a meaty campaign for sure.
I was like, I played it solo on stream. Took me about 12 hours. Now I did it on legend difficulty, but it was about 12 hours to go through, experience it all, probably little breaks. But I mean, yeah, you're talking a 10-hour campaign for Destiny that is not like anything it's ever been before. It is a very different level of campaign for them. As we said, the surrounding basic playlists and, certain things, but still, it's one of those that especially if you've already got it, it is worth your time to boot this up and experience it. And you can do it solo on normal, you can do it solo on the higher difficulty, whatever you're comfortable with. It is worth the journey.
Can you explain to me why still, and please tell me it's changed, Cognito, why has the Warlock had the worst looking drab clothing in the history of Destiny?
Now look, man, we fresh now. You've been away, brother.
So.
Okay, I will say you have an exotic ornament that is one of the best in the entire game. So,
bro,
let me tell you something. You guys introduced me as the salesman, but these guys are selling me on this. I'm about to buy it before the end of the show.
Let's go.
Hey, it's on sale right now. Now's a good time.
Is it real? Look at this, Ebontis.
Yeah, this is that's how he got me on PC. That's how
Use the code Ebontis at checkout.
30% off.
Yeah, I gotta talk to Green. I gotta talk to Green Man Gaming. Yeah, shout out to Advanced GG, 10% off code Ebontis. Yeah,
put in code Ebontis, aka Cheetah. Yeah, no, I think this is, in all honesty, that's the one thing. So shout out to Travis. You know this, right? Fashion Souls. That's one of the things in Elden Ring. I've been playing a lot of that as well. And sometimes you choose the less powerful equipment so you look better, right? And that's me. That's me in a nutshell with Destiny. So
that actually isn't a thing anymore in Destiny either, because they added transmog.
You can look good and still have the stats you want.
Yeah. Okay. So you can make any of your armor look like any of the other armor you own. So you can you no longer have to choose style or
those
substance.
Bungie guys, man. They are listen. It might have took them some time, but they are listening. Are they not? They are listening to people.
Yeah, I think that's honestly why.
Damn.
I think that's why Destiny has survived as long as it has. In part, is because it hasn't always delivered as a game. In fact, I would argue that most of its life it hasn't really delivered its promise to players. But they're very communicative. They probably have one of the better, community manager groups and organizations in the games industry. I think honestly that's what sets them apart. They're built for a game as a service because they have that core kind of support culture.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Shout out real quick to Mr. Joanna Dark. Hello, gentlemen. First-time listener. Hello to Lord Cog. As someone who hasn't played Destiny since Iron Banner. Now, Iron Banner is an event for PvP that happens often. Are you talking about
I think he means
Rise of Iron? Correct,
Yeah.
which would be Destiny 1 Year 3. Is it worth jumping into the game at this point? The campaign is excellent. We've touched on some of the surrounding pieces of seasonal stories and then also the state of PvP and Gambit and strikes and stuff. There's some very good things in Destiny. There's still some things that definitely need some work. The campaign alone is worth the experience for $40. The season pass, that is one you could wait on and maybe get later on if it's up to you and you want to. If you do the deluxe, I feel like you're going to be in for, you want to play it for PvE. That's the right place to play it for then.
That's
right now.
the right place to play it.
Yeah, if you're going to play PvE, you're in a great spot of the world of PvE. PvP Gambit, needs a little love, and we'll see in a few seasons it might, but no, that's one of those for sure. That right now it's a great campaign experience, and that PvE stuff is in a great spot.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I've sort of obviously I reviewed it, so what can I say that I haven't already written 3,000 words about? But I sort of think it depends on what you're trying to get out of it, right? If to you Destiny's always been a personal adventure, then the campaign is without it's without the caveat of for Destiny, right? Oh, that's pretty good for Destiny. It's like you could just play the game without knowing anything about Destiny lore and be like, it was a good story, which that's the first time it's ever happened in a Destiny game for sure. But if your hope is to have a lot of end game with as a solo player, don't play it. Like the end game
solo
is,
play,
is hard gated or behind people that are in groups. If your goal is to play PvP, don't play it. Just stick to Halo Infinite. It's free. I think the problem with PvP in Destiny is that it's just been sort of left to rot on the vine. It's got a great sandbox, great game mechanics, but they haven't added a mode or a map to it in so long. Probably since you last played, honestly. So it's been a rough for us PvP mains, but it's still a fantastic game. It's the best state it's ever been. It just sort of depends on what you're trying to get out of it. Destiny has a lot to offer, and if you're looking for the thing that it's doing really well right now,
and
play it.
What you're gonna like, Mooch, is beside, like, first of all, it has excellent weapons and armor that they've added this season. It's been so much fun to play with. But what you're going to appreciate is you're a vet. So you're coming from D1. You come from the being able to customize your character and really get down to the nitty gritties. And you're going to like Void 3.0. You're going to like being able to pick the grenade you want, the type of rift you want, the super, the aspects. You're going to have this synergy that you're going to be like, okay, finally, what they started with Stasis, they're now going to do to each subclass. And Void was the focus for Witch Queen. And then they've already announced next season, the subsequent season is going to be Arc. Everything's getting a rework so that you have the options. You know, you're not locked in, because you know how Destiny 2 started. You kind of locked into these triangles and you can only do these moves and this. That's over. We're getting now a little mini MMO, a little mini customization and synergies.
Thank you for bringing that up, Cognito. No, and in all honesty, that was one of the things that I'm not going to sit here just because you said it and say that was my biggest problem, but that was one of the issues I felt with Destiny 2 when it kicked off. Shout out to the great Gaming Forte in the chat too. He says more yelling, less talking.
Yeah, they used to yell it.
So right, this is the quietest I've been.
Let me just because I got your volume down a bit, so we balance everybody out.
I was just gonna say that's the great Ebontis, by the way, Forte. Don't blame me.
Showrunner.
Where are you guys now? It doesn't matter, right? Everything that, like we said, the boys over at the boys and gals over at what is it there? Bungie have been listening. Where are you guys playing though? What platform? It doesn't matter because it cross-play. It doesn't matter. But I mean, I'm going to
PvE, it doesn't matter.
The great Ebontis can't hide, okay? He can't hide. The second I turn my computer on, he lets the world know. It pops up in the bottom right corner. Ebontis is playing Destiny 2. So he's playing on PC.
Yes.
But now, Cog, will I be safe to assume the Series X, or are you PC?
Yes. Series X. Only because the clan was over there. They got mad when I left them.
Right.
They got mad because when D2 started, it was E's fault. He built out this awesome computer so I could, really take content creation seriously. What is it? Almost 2 years ago now? How long has it been? 2 years. So since then I experienced the joy. That was during the Xbox One era. So that was the joys of me getting more than 60 frames, and I'm like, oh, screw that. I'm staying over there. You know what I'm saying? So the clan was mad. They were mad because I left them for frames. You know what I'm saying? But then I said, look, when the Series X comes out, because 90% of the clan is there, and they're gonna get 60, and they're gonna get the main thing was the FOV
and frames.
The
Yeah.
FOV,
Yes.
please. And they did the FOV, and I'm like, all right, 60, and then the 120 with the PvP.
Yep.
So yeah, Series X is where I've been. The clan is very happy. But the cool thing is, like, E will have guests on, Last Word, and they're on PlayStation. And shout out to what's her name? Living Legend. Oh, I forget her name.
Last Lady
She was
Legend.
Last Lady Legend. She helped, Trav was there too. They got us to do the Vow Disciple raid.
Yeah,
They were on PlayStation. We did game chat. It was so cool. So it really doesn't matter now. Like the only time it matters is don't play with Teddy when he on PC and you on console, because you're gonna play all the sweaty people on PC. Because if the minute PC and console merge on PvP, they throw you into the PC pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when I'm like, oh God, they're killers here.
That's good to know, though.
Yeah. So PvE is
cheaters.
Yeah, don't cross the streams. That's basically don't cross the streams. Yeah.
You said it, Trav. You said I'm being nice.
Trav, where are you playing?
I play on Xbox mostly.
Okay.
But yeah, I own it on everything. So it kind of depends who I'm playing with. If I play with I play with D Flawless a lot, and he's on PlayStation, so I'll play it on PlayStation.
You'll go over.
There.
Okay.
Yeah.
I own it everywhere. So it kind of just depends. Like, to Cog's point, you can play everywhere, but it's not always a fun experience, especially if you're playing with PC people, because they always want to be in Discord and not use any of the actually good chat programs involved, and so it becomes a problem, I think.
Ebontis' eyebrows told the story.
He's told me everything.
I mean, I call me old school, but I don't think I should have to open up a second, third, fourth application to get my chat involved. I like it to just be kind of part of the experience.
I love it.
I love how
like
Discord's free.
Yeah, free. So
The
is
best of
Audacity.
slander. Oh Lord, here we go.
Well, they should have. You bring that up, and I know this will bring a smile to Ebontis' face, but we're waiting here on the console side. I don't care which side you like. Why don't we have Discord as an app available right now?
Yeah.
I mean, there are workarounds right now on the Xbox. I can't remember what it's called. There is
What do
a
you go
program
through the
you can
browser
download.
or something? Or something?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but
There's
when
a
I stream on
third-party app.
Twitch,
Yeah,
shameless plug here, but when I'm on Twitch,
Woo!
thank you very much. My Warzone buddy James Vincent, he uses whatever that is. I can't remember what it's called. It'll come to me in a moment, but nonetheless, it's a Discord. It works because he's in through my Discord, and that's how we're able to stream and
Nice.
play Warzone together on there. But my point being is that you guys are just selling this. I mean, I don't even know.
Mooch, you got to.
Cognito,
You're
you're
a
going to be
Destiny guy, bro. Mooch, like this is for you. Like this is all you.
So that's why I'm ashamed of myself for not playing it.
You've been
yet.
playing some excellent games. You just now have another one waiting for you when you finish
This is
Elden
true.
Ring. So I was
And I
like,
told Ebontis, I was like, Ebontis, March 31st, no problem. I'll be there. I'm going to be there with lights on, and I'm going to be playing Witch Queen. And he goes, that's not, you have plenty of time, Mooch. He's like,
You got
relax.
time, bro. You
Plenty
got
of time. What happens, March 31st comes, I'm probably going to buy it tonight. I'm going to have to show you guys receipts of the purchase. No, like
please.
an actual receipt, not the Twitter receipt. You guys are going to want to see the actual receipt.
if
So
you
I'll
can
ask
make sure your
Microsoft
full
for that.
credit card numbers on that receipt, that'd be great.
Yeah, then we're good.
Well,
Then we're
I'll
good.
do my best. I'll give you one that expires tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
No doubt,
Make sure
no
to
doubt.
make sure to send the receipt to Bungie so they know who to invoice. We
Oh,
gotta
they know how to invoice now.
Yeah,
Woo,
for
we're gonna get to that.
All right. Well, speaking of Bungie, I did want to touch on this last week. Obviously, content creators were scared, had some issues with the world of copyright strikes and everything on YouTube.
Yep.
This week, over the course of the weekend and all of the stuff that went down, we figured out I think basically all of that stuff should be reversed at this point. Copyright strikes were removed. They got their stuff fixed. They also fired back. Bungie has filed a lawsuit against the bad actor against every one of the basically, false claims or, claiming to be them. False claims of copyright strikes. I think there were over 40, $150,000 per strike. So if this is, say, like one person, you're talking millions of dollars that somebody is theoretically facing in a legal lawsuit from Bungie. But they also kind of called out YouTube, which they calling them out and having Sony not quite officially there, but close. This is finally the point. YouTube is really bad about this. Somebody, if they can, get around YouTube, if they can, fudge their credentials, basically, they went to YouTube and said, hey, your security, this system kind of sucks in a much more detailed way. But it is something that somebody, if somebody is diehard enough, they can work their way around the system of YouTube and strike enough people. So it is, yeah, it's like if there's 8 to 10 possible people or however many, $150,000 for anybody's going to be bad if you spread that over multiple people. Either way, however many people that were doing those things, that's just going to be a really bad thing. But the fact that Bungie is getting YouTube process involved is something that needed done long ago, because it is we talked about it last week. It's an old, antiquated process with copyright strikes and other things. You can have 5 seconds of fair use of something and get flagged for it or whatever it may be. So the risk of a content creator to have their channel potentially gone in 3 strikes, completely deleted, and somebody with, multiple hundreds of thousands of subs could, Aztecross was, nearly 500,000 subs. If there would have been another strike and, say Bungie wasn't batting for them at that point, they could have lost their entire channel in a weekend, and then a week later, nothing. And that's just that.
Got hit.
Yeah, Bife got hit. He got his reversed. And some of the people at the soundtracks, Bungie kind of gave the lay of the land of how to handle those things in the future to get the licensing, get approval for stuff that's not officially able to be out there. But this just kind of showed the holes that YouTube's process has right now. And I'm glad to see somebody as big as Bungie with the backing, with the power that they have, is hopefully going to get YouTube to wake up. Now, will processes happen quickly? No, because everything at YouTube is probably going to take a little while, and theirs is a bit of a mess. But hopefully this gets the ball rolling on the process. So I was just kind of curious your guys' thoughts on this whole Bungie, firing back with a lawsuit against the bad actors, and then also kind of calling out Google. I was just curious your guys' thoughts on basically this big turn of events.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump off. Like, yeah, it was really surprising because, to be honest, we haven't seen like Google and YouTube kind of have their feet put to the fire in a long time. Most of us all here are content creators on some level, or have a channel, or do a show on a channel, and it's frustrating because these guys were getting strikes. Like, right. You get a strike. This is not a little monetization flag here and there. A strike, 3 of those, and you're out. Your channel's gone. So to have these content creators have this happen to them. And what's funny? Would you go laugh? Like, the thing about this way Google always envisioned them. You old enough, you're my generation. Mm-hmm. They always remind me of, like, there's no customer service. There's no direct person you can speak to. So it's like remember the old Inspector Gadget cartoon where the boss you don't see, and you just see the hand and the cat?
Just the hands.
Yeah, and he had that's YouTube to me. There's no figure, right? It's just this evil entity that you can't contact, and they got control of everything. You know what I'm saying? They just stroking the cat with the dog fight.
But it's funny because you nailed it though, Cognito. And it's funny that Ebontis said that he's happy to see Bungie fire back. We need the Bungies of the world, and I don't mean just Bungie in this case, but anybody big to be able to get that kind of attention. Because actually, Cog, you saw also what was going on in the community even outside of Destiny. Yeah, people are just getting, and that's listen. A lot of people put their hard work and their time into these channels of theirs, right? There's nothing worse than getting that email, So I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about, and so. The whole point of the matter is that I'm glad that we have the Bungies of the world and other companies, I hope, stand proud next to them when this kind of stuff happens to say that that's not going to be acceptable. Because let's be honest here. Everybody on this show and everybody listening to this show, we all promote these games and do a lot of the work for these companies for them. And yeah, you may get a couple of pennies here and there, but nowhere near the money they're getting from what we're doing.
Oh, they're getting their cut.
So they're getting their cut. So let's be honest, you know what I mean? Like, this is a tremendous amount of advertising when it comes to video game industry. And that's why I think it's real important to see what Bungie did. That's why that's a stand-up company right there. Now, Ebontis, do you think that did they react as quick as you wanted to see them?
I don't know if they can do it much faster.
I agree. I was wondering.
Like the fact that I saw when the strikes went down first 2 weekends ago on Saturday, I think is Aztecross, like somewhere in the middle of the day. Or maybe Sunday. Cosmo, community manager, replying on a Sunday at like 8:30 in the morning Central Time. Dude was up early, saw it. They were replying. The new community manager, Liana, she was replying saying, hey, we can't say everything. Things are being investigated. We have something going on Monday for a meeting. I mean, they were on it on a weekend. I can't ask for much more than they were trying to do. Things can't happen theoretically on a Sunday because typically an off day for a lot of people. But they made things happen pretty fast. I mean, Monday, things were coming back. So, I mean, it's probably, I don't know how fast it could have been, but I was like, I can't picture it being much faster than what happened. Was everybody resolved in the same speed? Of course, like Aztecross and the big ones and Bife were probably handled first. Maybe there's smaller ones, if they got hit, that could have been a little slower. But either way, I think they handled it as quick as they could. And I'm glad to see that they called out everything that they did.
I do think that we need to see something, Cognito, and what you're representing, which you're right. We have to have something like an 800 number. I don't care what it is. Even if it's, they don't get back to us for weeks. That's fine. But right now, like you say, there's a time and a place, and we feel like we have absolutely no power, no control, no reach. We have no reach. And that's something I think that does need to change over at Google. I hope that they do something like that in the future. But with so many people having channels, I don't know how they would even... From their side of it, it would be an interesting logistics nightmare to see how you would handle every single complaint. But nonetheless, they have to have something. You have to put something in place.
Travis, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have the least horse in this race. I think you're muted, Cog.
I think, Cognito, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, good.
Yeah, but it looked like a funny joke just based on your smirk.
No, I was just saying, like, for the smaller guys, it's tough because it's like, you don't have, that outlet to get, the information to. But yeah, I'll give it to you, Travis. I want to hear I'm very curious to see what you got to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I kind of have the least horse in this race just because I don't really use YouTube as a platform, except for through you guys. And I guess Bitcast also posts their video to YouTube. But I don't really have the same relationship with it as you do. But I was talking earlier in the show about how I think Destiny has survived as long as it has, mostly due to its community management. And I think this is a great example of it, because if it was any other game, and they had this problem and it took a substantial amount of time for them to fix it, think about how that would have impacted the game. I mean, the content creators feel burned and maybe move on, or just straight up can't post any new content. And then the people who follow them and play the game because of it, lose interest or are so pissed off that they don't come back. And that's how you kill a game, man. Like, that's one of the ways you can do it. So I think they treated it with the urgency it needed. And I mean, I think of all the things that Destiny fans have been really pissed off about over the 7 years they've been playing Destiny, community management has almost never been the thing that they're upset about. And I just think that's their ace in the hole, is they're really on top of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
I'm glad to see that they've done it. Also, I just think our laws are super outdated when it comes to copyright infringement.
That's
sort of thing.
that
I
needs
talked
some
about that
updating.
last week as a pre-law guy who likes reading legal documents. So no need to retread that. But yeah, we're super outdated.
Yep.
I feel you, bro.
Yeah, so it was like, it was just nice to see them kind of come out swinging. So it was a good way to start the week. And then Tuesday, got a new weekly reset. We are at that point. We got a couple months, basically until the season ends. But we had Season of the Risen story basically pan out. I ranted about Legend PsiOps Battlegrounds last week, which still has no purpose in my mind. But this week,
you gotta get that insight, dog. What else are you gonna get that insight?
I mean, you can get half of it from the normal mode. It's still anyway.
Don't get them started.
No, but this week again, booted up on Tuesday, got the group together, and we hit 2 out of the 3 raids. And
what group is this? Don't floss over this A-list celebrity group you've been raided with.
We've talked about this. You know who it is.
Mention the bourgeoisie that
you want you to name drop.
Name drop, sir.
Okay, fine. Ascendant Nomad, Cool Guy, KJ Hovey, Jingleheimer, True Vanguard. I got them all in there. So I got lucky enough to jump in. I've told you guys, it was literally through Twitter messages. Like 5 minutes later, I had a group of crazy creators. I was like, well,
honor the podcast with you.
Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah. But
I don't tell you enough.
Destiny for a minute. I gotta ask a question. There's something that he said that stumped me right there. He said 2 out of the 3 raids.
Yes.
There's 3 raids available right now?
I ran 2 out of 3 characters.
3 characters.
Okay. My apologies. I was like, they never do that. I'm like, there's 1 raid right now available, correct?
Well, there's multiple raids. There's only one that's worth like powerful gear, like leveling up gear. The other raids are in there.
You can do the past raids, but I'm saying yes. But there's one new raid.
I'm not sure you even know about the content vault, but you can't do all of the old raids.
Vault of Glass is in there, right?
No.
Vault got pulled forward, but Leviathan's gone. Scourge of the Past is gone. All of the Leviathan.
They've been removing content from Destiny. You can no longer play like the Forsaken campaign.
Yeah, you can't play the OG. You can't play the first 2 campaigns.
Okay.
So they have.
That's all right. I
They're
mean,
kind of
those I played
cycling.
till I was,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm good there, but I mean, even Leviathan, I played that one to death.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to this new
You're
one.
not
Now, what's
missing too much.
what's the power level that you got to get to even hang out with you fellas
So
in the
when
raid?
you
Great
log
news.
in, when you log in, you start at 1350 as everyone does. They bump the floor
Right.
up to 1350 for everybody for Witch Queen, and then now power cap is 1550 for 1500 is basically like just by doing anything. 1550 is the powerful gap from all the powerful engrams, and then Pinnacle's 10 more. The nice thing about the campaign, if you do the campaign on legendary difficulty, they give you 8 pieces of gear and 8 upgrade modules that are at 1520. So it takes that 50 power level gap and makes it only 30 that you got to do. Honestly, one of the best quality of life things they did is take that chunk out of leveling. So if you can play through each mission on legendary, it's worth it.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's good advice. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
just jump it on legendary when you get in. For
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
It honestly makes everything feel a little more. It puts
Yeah.
weight to each of the missions. They may be a little more difficult, but then the missions feel how they should, I think.
How they
You
should,
won't
right.
steamroll them. But no, so 2 weeks in a row, we've done the raids at reset. And so far, we've done 2 of the challenges. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't like these challenges.
What we predicted, what me and Trav predicted last week, the mechanics, the
Uh,
conditions for these challenges to put you
so
in
the
precarious
one
situations.
this week is
This one was just a little tedious.
it's
It wasn't even hard.
exactly. It was tedious.
Or
It was
was it?
just you could only hold one symbol on caretaker. You could only hold
Mhm.
one symbol at a time. So instead of running in and picking
basically
up 3, you would run in,
two
pick up
people-
1, get out. Run, yeah.
The two people just keep switching. You pick up
Switching,
one, you come
oh.
out, shoot, pick up one, shoot. And the weird thing about it is that because you have to do 9, and you're going in and out so quickly,
Mhm.
you kind of have to wait around sometimes because you might still have stacks of darkness
Yep.
Right.
on you before you enter the second time, and you're just sort of like,
Mhm.
all right. So basically, the name of the game is you have to just stall the caretaker
Stall
for
the character,
even
yeah.
longer than normal,
Right.
and you have to be successful at that. And you also have to do ad control because if the ads are allowed to shoot
Yeah,
the
that's right. Yep,
envelopes,
obelisk.
so,
Yep.
yeah.
So it's like
I'm
this
thinking a lot
one
about this writing the
Mhm.
guide. But
last week was keeping the champion alive until you can all kill it at the same time.
Mm.
So you just have to kill the 3 champions at the same time, but one spawns when you kill the glyph keeper.
Right.
Well, somebody's got to get that second compass, go through, figure out the symbols. Okay, next one's up. Okay, now you got 2 of them roaming around. And then the same thing, the third
Crazy.
one. Once all 3 are running around, then you can go, okay, stun them, kill them. But it's just the fact that, hey, here's this game where you want to shoot stuff and keep things dead as fast as possible so you don't die. No, we're going to make you not kill stuff on the first one. And then same thing as the Triumph challenge is don't kill guys too soon. I don't love either of those. And then this week, it's instead of going in and being efficient and picking up 3 that you're allowed to do, now you got to do 1. So far, like, I don't know what the exhibition part's going to be with all the relics. If it's going to be each person can only each hold the relic 1 time or something, it's going to be chaos. Then you got to figure out who's going to rotate when and where. Because we have a pretty good rotation now, because the last 2 rooms, you can actually clear with the same 2 of us holding the shield and the taken relic, the same, and we just wait and repeat the same people. They're just, I don't like something that makes you play worse, is the best way I can phrase it. And
It's just bad.
yeah, it's like, I don't know who looked at these and was like, that's a cool mechanic. It's not a mechanic. It's just don't shoot stuff or do it in a worse way. And I'm just not a fan of these challenges so far. I don't know what next week is going to be. I don't know what Rourke's going to be, but I really enjoy the raid. But I can tell you these challenges, not a fan. I just wanted to say that.
Great. The raid is good, but I have a question. Can I ask what the reward for said challenges are?
I mean, it is a second chest. So if you're going for crafting,
Oh, it's 2 chests. Okay.
Yeah, it's double chest on that encounter.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
All
so
right.
far it hasn't been that bad on normal, but
Mhm.
I can picture on Master just making everything take long. The Master on the first encounter, keeping an unstoppable champion alive. If you get that unstoppable champion first on Master,
Yeah, oh man, that person's getting terrorized by
exactly.
that.
They're just going to get absolutely, just chased by
You're gonna
this
have to keep
nightmare
stun locking
creature.
them. You
Yeah.
gotta keep stun locking them. That's all you can do.
What's
But-
the commitment on time, guys, when it comes to something where you guys are all already at max power? There's no doubt about it. Now you guys are just keeping up. You're trying to get those chests. You're trying to get that loot. You're trying to keep up with the challenges. What is the commitment for somebody like yourself, once you're at that level, to withhold where you are and keep up with the community week to week? I'm asking on a week-to-week basis.
So that's actually easier now because keeping up isn't really a factor. They sort of squeezed that out now. You can play every week, but I think now the grind is more about finding the perfect weapons and perfect armor and that sort of stuff. And it's all an optional grind. You don't have to play to be relevant I would argue you used to have to do that. You'd be running around easy,
absolutely
grinding spin foil until spin metal until the cows came home. That was just like a requirement, but yeah, not anymore.
No, I agree.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, you could play for the first 4 weeks of the season, you could take 2 months off.
Yeah.
And then when the next season comes out, it's only a 10 power level grind to the next season anyway, so it's pretty minor. So if you're close in the first place, cool.
Yeah.
It's honestly a lot easier for, I don't want to say a casual, but you can jump in for a month of the first season of Destiny, then you got a couple Tuesdays, and then take 2 months. If you want to do that, there's really nothing stopping you.
Cognito, how about the campaign? Now, the campaign for Witch Queen, how long did that take to complete? Because this was a much more fulfilling one than past ones, right? So this
by far, this is. I mean, I'll defer to Trav because he reviewed it. How long? What was the gameplay hours?
So that's the beauty of this one is it's sort of a choose your own adventure in terms of how much of a commitment you want it to be. Because if you want, you could just play the campaign like you always have on the standard difficulty, and you could probably blow through it in 5-6 hours at the most. Really, I mean, it's kind of a usual run, but. If you want to be fucking cool, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I like the attitude on that too.
I'm with you.
If you want to be dope, you can play it on the Become Legend difficulty, which I highly recommend.
Recommend.
That adds a whole bunch of like raid mechanics and additional difficulty, and that will take you that can take you a while. I no lifed it, and I got through it on the first day, but like. If you're not no-lifing it, you haven't played Destiny for a while, you're not running like the best gear, it'll probably take you a couple days of like
I was gonna say it could take
it was 12 hours straight.
Maybe 15 hours.
Yeah, it was 12 hours straight for me.
That sounds right.
And it was about 12 hours. So 12 to 15 if you space it out, get through a mission, maybe try. But there's there's some checkpoints in there and stuff like that.
Right, it's checkpoints now, Mooch.
Yeah, so it's
that particular mode that Travis was just speaking of, though, is that you have, in order to get the gear he's discussing and to get the perks, do you have to play that solo?
No.
Or can you play that through
you
with a
play
buddy?
No, you can play it. You can play with a buddy, and it scales to the difficulty. And then the best part is, if you beat the entire campaign in that mode, you get gear that basically jumps you ahead.
Jumps you so ahead.
Forte, I hope you got nothing planned after the show. Shout out to Forte. I got to get this, man. You guys. I've never been so excited to spend $20-something in my life.
It's 40.
But
But
here's
40.
the thing,
Pardon me.
Mooch.
That's why Ebontis. I was hoping for an Ebontis coupon.
yeah. Sorry, it'll be 37 after coupon.
Okay.
The thing too, what you're gonna like is again the each level, so to speak, is lengthy. Like you're gonna play what would be considered like a Destiny strike and be like completely like, okay, that's good, and that's part of the first level.
Yeah.
Right. And then what's cool is they reward you by doing a legend by giving you double chests. And an upgrade module so you can upgrade and keep going. And I think it really helps people who are just trying to power level. So they reward you for it. And you'll be increasing slowly. But to like what Ian and Travis saying, the scaling is really done because the challenge is in such a sweet spot. And the thing you're gonna like also is that because of obviously, I'm not going to spoil too much. You do know that obviously the Hive got the light. Right. Okay, so the mechanic of the Lucent Hive changes the game because you're going to face the foe that you're like, wow, I am not used to this. This is not only having to deal with their power, but how you have to take them out and crush the ghost. Sometimes you got to put yourself in a precarious position because just by finishing them is not enough. You have to go to their ghost and kill their ghost. And that changes the whole complexity of the game. And it's so much fun, man. I'm telling you, this is for you, like all you.
Yeah, so guy in chat,
I'm in.
Literally that random guy in the comments, thank you for that name. That's hilarious.
I like that.
He just said, he took his time with the legendary campaign, took him about 4 days, and he just really savored it. And I think that's the way, is like you do, like I know life done on the first day because I had a lot of crap to do, but yeah, I would say like savor it. Play a couple missions a night, something like that, enjoy them, take them in, but do it on legendary so it feels weighty and stuff like that. And You'll enjoy this campaign more than any other Destiny campaign. No questions asked.
Mhm.
Now, when is the next season break? When is that next date?
May 24th, I think.
Couple
Okay,
months.
so plenty
you
of
got-
time to
you
get
got
in right
time,
now
bro.
and enjoy
Oh,
the game
Yeah.
for what it is. And shout out to that random guy in the comments too. He's actually makes a good point. No, he makes a great name, by the way.
I
But
love it.
outstanding point there, because like you get into it. I'm not going to be able to know life it like Travis said. There's no way right now with the schedule I have coming up. Like Cog was saying before the show. Hope he doesn't mind me saying. I had the same thing. Today was just a long day, right? Today was a long,
Yeah, it was a
long day.
brother.
So I've got a lot of that coming up. But this is a game that I would kind of like to eat away at. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah,
get
that's
back into
the
the
best way
community.
to play it.
Best way to
Yeah.
play it, bro.
Yeah. There's something about it, and it's funny because I sit here and I'm thinking I'm on my show, but I'm on a Destiny podcast, and you guys know this, but hearing this is the refreshing aspect when it comes to Destiny. This is why I love Destiny so much. And I left it just because, I started playing other games. Ebontis said it himself. You could play for a couple of weeks, right? Put it down, maybe not come back for a month. The problem was I was doing that and keeping up with it religiously. The problem was is that I got to a certain point, started playing a couple of games, and it took me away from it for more than that month, 2 months. And then I felt like I was out of the loop. I know that they brought you up at the power level. We all knew that. We knew that.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say that's still a bit of a struggle with Beyond Light, and I think Cognito, I know you might know him. Do you know Noximus? You remember Nox?
Yeah, I don't Nox. Yeah.
He's big into the Destiny world himself.
Mhm,
And he said, Mooch, why don't you join me? We'll run through Beyond Light, and he did. But there was so many things when it comes down to your inventory and the way you attach things and the level up system. Things have changed since I left, like hardcore, right? So that's the one thing when you grab a good friend of yours and a buddy, and you're like, come on in, all I ever say to anybody, which by the way, I'm talking to you, Forte, because I'm coming to you first. Forte, you gotta actually we gotta go through everything because there's so much to it, not just the lore, but there's so much that's going on in your inventory, your items, things that you guys have picked up over the past 2 expansions that I have not, that I've got to be honest with you, like honest to God. That's the part that I think is frustrating for friends when you have a new person like myself coming back into the mix. I mean, you guys can admit that, right? You guys have had a Mooch in your life that was like, listen, right? You guys have all had a Mooch in your life beyond Destiny, but nonetheless, my point is, right, they come in and they're like, Cognito, you mind running through this with me? And you're like, absolutely, that's not a problem. Then they're asking you questions and stuff. You're talking about setting yourself back 45 minutes a help session. So, yeah, that's the one thing that I ask anybody that's going to be gaming with me. Just take a little bit of patience. But because I want to learn the aspects of the game that I missed. I'm hearing Ebontis. I read what he does on Twitter. I see his videos. And the point of the matter is you have to be caught up to speed on all of that in order to enjoy that lore of what you guys are really grasping right now.
Yeah, Travis about to jump in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that is the one part of Destiny that probably hasn't improved.
Yep.
And maybe is even worse is that if you're out of the loop for a while, getting back into the loop. I mean, you can play the story without being in the loop. Really, you can kind of just focus on the story and use whatever trash guns you come upon. It doesn't really matter. But once you start to approach the end game and you are looking at all these materials and these hundreds of currencies that Destiny has, and tried to add dozens more, and all that stuff, then you start to go, oh boy, this is gonna hurt to figure this all out. And weapon crafting was added to the game, which is both super cool and super scary if you're
it is intimidating at first. Yeah,
for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got that typical Destiny like barrier of entry. Like they want you to get out an Excel spreadsheet and like get into the Destiny subreddit and like get your abacus out and all this crap. And it's that is like the worst part of Destiny by far, especially if you're
and Travis, thank you for
a returning player.
I really appreciate you agreeing with me on that because because I got to be honest with you, when you're talking to the Destiny community, I don't know if they necessarily feel that same way if somebody's coming back in.
Because they're nerds.
Travis saying that it's but you know what though, we all are, and I love that. That's the part I feel like I've missed out. So you saying that it's a refreshing point to be taken from your side of the coin versus mine. So it's nice to hear that. And I apologize to anybody in advance. What's the game before? He says, I know, Mooch, don't leave me at the altar like Brap. I won't leave you like Brap did. I won't do that. I'll be there for you, Forte, if you'll be there. I appreciate it. But no, back to what Travis was saying. I do appreciate him recognizing that because there is a large part of lore if you haven't played a few expansions to get back into it. So I'll tell you, this is refreshing to know that this is the time to jump back in. And the great Ebontis just sent me a link to let me know and remind me that it's on sale.
Mhm.
You know, on sale's one of the favorite words in the Mooch community. That's correct.
I mean,
Well,
that is
besides
the
Mooch here-
Mooch. That is the Mooch way, right?
Well, the Mooch way is, hey, Mooch, here's a code. But
Here's a
nonetheless,
code.
that's
Yeah,
a little
that's the
different.
Mooch
That's a
way.
little. That's a little different. But then this is second best, Ebontis, and I
It's
appreciate
like
it.
those are powers I don't have, so that's fair.
Oh, everybody's got them. You got them, buddy. You know what I mean?
Mooch working
Listen,
it. Mooch working it.
Cognito, listen, if you're from New York, you already know. Like, that's,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
hustling, baby.
When I
respect
walked
it.
out of the house, that's
Grift
how he
is
started
on.
the day, you know?
Yeah.
Come home, you'd be like, how'd you get that bag? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that.
Don't you worry
You
about it.
enjoyed it though, right?
Right? So shout out.
So
Great.
true.
So great.
What you got, E?
No, yeah, it's like that kind of covers most of what we had in Destiny, but also we had GDC recently, and there was one
Yeah.
specific slide that came out about Destiny. There were a couple for like graphs and retention and stuff like that. I don't want to go into too much of those, just mostly because you could probably break those down any way you want to. But we actually get to see the idea of how long, when seasons and expansions are developed, how long kind of the development process is, what is being concurrently developed, because if you take the launch of Beyond Light, which launched with Season of the Hunt, and they like have the little tip of the arrow from the slide, that's where they launch. While that is launched, you have Season of the Splicer in the works, Season of the Chosen already been in the works for the while, and then they just start on Season of Lost. So literally right when the season starts, 3 other seasons are in process. And already before Beyond Light even starts, Witch Queen's already in development. So we're seeing this like concurrent development cycle of how many teams are doing things at the same time. And obviously you have pre-production and you have different pieces to all this, but we get to see a little more in the future. So we got to see that Lightfall obviously launches, I'm guessing it's in 2023. We know that one, but I'm going to guess it's farther into 2023 than February, because I doubt we're doing that one again. But we also get to see you got multiple seasons there. Then we get to see that Final Shape will get started probably sometime later this year, because that's going to be theoretically the final one. But we also got to see something nobody really expected. And I don't know if this is just a piece of like marketing spin or somebody had fun with the slide, but theoretically around the type when Final Shape starts development, late 2022, and that is the thing that is going to launch in 2024 probably. They're also going to start developing some other large arrow that is redacted.
Mhm.
And this could theoretically be what falls after the Light and Dark saga, which is supposed to end in Final Shape. So they're going to be working on theoretically 2 different pieces of Destiny, large pieces of Destiny at the same time, along with the seasonal content as they go. And I was just curious if you guys had any thoughts of just like, hey, is this a timescale that's just squished down? Do you think there's a reason why this redacted arrow is nearly the same like concurrent development as Final Shape? I was just curious what you guys think of this, because it does look like it shows that we've got 4 seasons with Lightfall, 4 like multiple 1, 2, 3. That's gonna be Witch Queen. 1, 2, 3. I can't tell how many seasons are with Final Shape. That's the big question I have.
Too many is the answer.
But I was curious your guys'
Too
thoughts on
many.
this one, because I'm sure you both saw it.
Yeah, I'm putting it so Bush could check it out if he didn't see it. But it's interesting. You know, the development cycle, what they got going on. Is that another expansion? You know, is that the rumored? Was it Matter? You know, that's another thing. I don't know if this is exclusively to Destiny. I'm not sure of the context, but yeah, the development cycle was. To be honest, I'm not too surprised by this, because, like you said, you know, they develop multiple things at once, right?
Yeah.
The way we consume, we only see the first product, you know, the end game product, and then, you know, you hear rumors of, you know, Lightfall and so on and so forth. But they think outside the box. They're always a couple of steps ahead. To me, I was actually more concerned about the other slide, and that's the one that had like the active users,
The metrics and all that. I was trying to find that tweet and I just couldn't get it.
That's the one. Yeah, I put it in our internal Discord, because that's the one. And shout out to Teddy if he's listening, and Travis would know what I'm talking about as well. And you too. I mean,
Hours of engagement numbers.
Yes, I always felt it was always this innate feeling that Destiny knows when I return. Like, if I go away from it, I always felt like, you ever come back to Destiny, Mooch, and you're like, man, I'm getting good rolls, and wow, I got this exotic, and man, I've been trying to get
this
that
like stored up luck drops or something.
Get that man back at all costs, right?
Shout out to Don't Master Chew. Corporate Cog is talking. Corporate
right.
Cog knows that there is some algorithm that they like, Mooch have been playing, so let's give him all that good stuff, and it locks you back in. And it was interesting that they had a metric that was like average weekly return rate. So they want to know when you come back. They want to know Mooch. I said, Mooch just bought the expansion. Oh, he logged in. Here's that expansion. Here's that exciting. He bought it.
That's it.
It's like when your ex knows that she's going to see you, so she wears something nice.
She got the outfit. The food is nice.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for sure.
She got that. We got the pizza on deck for Mooch. I'm telling you,
right?
It's a goal, man.
Yes.
I also thought it was interesting that they track positive versus negative player sentiment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, they had vocal
sentiment. I feel like I represent like at least 2% of that.
You're on the chart. You're on the chart.
Based on my vitriol, like I'm on the chart. I'm like an outlier for sure.
Oh, you're definitely on the chart, Trav.
Yeah, for sure.
It's no doubt you're on the chart.
But yeah, that I think we all knew that this is how they looked at the game and are equal parts happy that they're keeping track of the game so closely and annoyed that they seem to care so much about engagement because they're to Mooch's point, the reason that it felt like you could fall behind so quickly is because they were trying to get you to log on every damn week and trying to make it meaningful. Like if you didn't, you were going to miss something. And there was a big FOMO aspect to Destiny. And I think that they learned that does help in the short term, but in the long term, it really hurts you because it means that your new players are going to go down. It means that eventually the Mooches of the world are going to fall off of the wagon and they have a really hard time getting back on because the FOMO is real. And once you just let something go, I don't know if you guys have ever had this. Obviously none of us have had it with Destiny, but I've had it with other games as a service where I was playing every week and I was trying to keep up. And then eventually I fell off the wagon. And then a couple weeks later, you feel like this relief off your chest. Like, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's behind me. I'm free of it. And like, that is a really good cathartic feeling to let that thing out of your life. And I feel like it's like it. Yeah, dude. Like I had that with Genshin Impact actually, where like I was really, really into that game, but I just couldn't take it with all of the other stuff I was doing at the time. And then I missed 1 week and it felt bad. But then the second week when it kind of sunk in, I felt like this relief of like,
Trav,
I don't have to worry about it.
Not to interrupt. It's so true because when you do break away, and E knows this as well, and now Mooch is going through it, don't you realize how productive you are as a gamer? Don't you realize like how many games you finish?
Since I started variety streams, like my list of games completed is just skyrocket, like so much more content. Yeah, it's been and that's why I'm very happy with the breaks that they're building in, and now they're even longer because these tighter seasonal stories allows you to truly take a break.
That was it, Cognito. You nailed that right there. And when I did leave, that's the games I completed, the games I was able to even not only just finish the game, but to 100% them. Because now I felt like I had a full another 24 hours of sand in the hourglass. You know what I mean? It felt like that much more time opened up. And I remember I don't remember who I talked to. It's somebody that everybody in the panel knows, somebody that we all podcast with. And someone said, Mooch, if you've left the game, Destiny he's referring to, for this long, and he didn't mean this in any wrong way. So don't
I know what you're about to say.
He said, you walked away. He said, just be done with it. Because he said, to be honest with you, it's what he said. He said, be done with it. Because he goes, you're playing all these games. You're talking about all this stuff on the show. I see you doing this and that on Twitch. He's like, I'm telling you, once you get back into it, I'm not saying you're not going to do any of it, but it's going to drop.
The cool thing, Mooch, though, what you like is the way it's designed now. And I've come full circle. You know what I'm saying? E will be proud of me because I used to fight E on this back in the day. And I wanted to live in the game. That's all I want to do. I love it so much. It's home, the gunplay, the music, everything, right? That's why we love this damn game, right?
Absolutely.
But it's like, it's one of those things, the way it's constructed now with the seasonal model, it's like, tune in next week and you'll find the answer to this. And then at some point, it's done. And even though the season is still continuing for the casual guy that's just going to take his time to get there, the hardcore will be done. And you will be done in a reasonable short rate. And that's when you can step away. They've designed it now in a way they want you to step away. They're not
Absolutely.
forcing the hardcore to necessarily live in it. And that's why I have more healthy balance with it.
What they've learned, and I'm hearing this from Ebontis, I'm hearing this from Cognito and Travis, is they've learned what the expression means of absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So they actually do want you, in an essence, to step off
a little
from
bit.
Right.
I think their goal isn't to, the meme of dead game. Sometimes yeah, dead game a little bit. I mean but not games can live second lives in this era of No Man's Sky like rebirths, and I think Destiny has had one of those every year because it keeps building on itself. But I think what they've done is they've found the people like the former cogs and said, look, you want to live in the game, we'll give you a path to do so that is 100% optional.
Good point.
And then the people who don't want to do it, they can leave without missing anything. And I find myself sort of dipping my toes in either side of that equation. I get FOMO about the games I miss when I play too much Destiny, right? Like the games
Travis,
that I don't get to play. And so I there's sometimes, like right now, I'm kind of going through one where I reviewed Witch Queen, so it was my entire life for like a month, and now I'm sort of just a little colder on it, and I'm enjoying other stuff. And then I have periods where I just want to live in it. And the great thing about the game right now is that it gives you stuff to do if you want to.
If you choose it, yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay,
Travis
and that's
right.
an important aspect that I think, again, your community knows this. Your community knows this. But that's something that I didn't know as well, because, Cog, you made a good point a moment ago. You said you finish what you finish, the hardcore, then step off. Right. But if you're enjoying what you're enjoying, I felt back in the day that when you got everything that you had, that it was time, there was nothing left to do. Right. There was legitimately nothing left to do unless you want to do a raid on a Saturday night, right?
Right.
And then, God forbid, you had one or two people that didn't run the raid with you. My God, you're pulling your hair out. So,
for sure.
Which, by the way, that's me. But nonetheless, it's all right. I make it entertaining, I promise. But the point of the matter is, what Travis says, that is another kind of hook that you're talking about right now, Cog, to get me back into it. Because when you do accomplish everything that's out there to get, I do want to have a reason to play the game.
Right. And what they've done, and E will speak to it, is like now they'll give little, what I consider milestone things on the calendar for the hardcore to do. So they'll be like, hey, 2 weeks, Grandmasters are coming.
Right.
To ease dismay, Grandmaster PsiOps came. It wasn't what the juice wasn't worth the squeeze in that sense. But they are giving little bits of content on the roadmap for the hardcore still to chase. But again, to Travis's point, it's optional. You know what I'm saying? And then to the casual point, they'll say, okay, you know what? Is the juice worth the squeeze? What am I getting at? So I'm in that middle part. There's some things I'm like, oh, no, that's worth it. I'll go grind for that. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes I'm like, yo, E, I'll ask you, what's my favorite question? So what's the reward?
Yeah. You did tonight.
Yeah. I'm like, so when you did that hardcore thing, what was the reward? And you
like double raindrops in the chest for something tedious. I'm like, I just don't love that. But I was like, this Legend PsiOps is not match made for absolutely nothing besides a little bit of insight for your seasonal challenges. That can go in the bushes for the ILP. ILP sake of it. Yeah, that one can go in the bushes.
He asked you that earlier tonight, Ebontis, and you said, no, there's 2 chests. And then Cognito was like, all right, then I'll sign on to them.
That's the moochism in me.
He wants to know, is the juice worth the squeeze?
The squeeze. They tell me, it's a gun that gave me +1 handling. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Like, I'm good. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if we're talking about like Wonderlands, which Travis says he reviewed, or we're talking about something like this. I need to have that. The reason I want to complete the strikes, get the chest, right, in Destiny. The reason I literally open every damn chest in Wonderlands is because I don't know what loot I'm going to be able to get, right? I'm doing every side mission because I don't know what's going to drop. These types of looter shooters are the reason. And like I said, you talk about this on the air, and when you're doing ILP, I'm doing Crossfire. When you're talking about a plethora of different games, you'll get certain people to agree and certain people not to. This audience gets it. I mean, this audience loves that. So that's fine. But like, that's the reason that I love what I love. I love the fact in these games is you never know what you're going to get. Oh, yeah. That's the fact that keeps people coming back. And I think, honestly, it's the simplest slogan for Destiny. But I think at the end of the day, it's what keeps people coming back. Whether it's the fashion part of it, okay? Whether it's the powerful weapon. And then let's not forget like you said, the amazing gunplay and level design, right? Along with music. I mean, it's hard to top it. It's hard to top this.
Absolutely. What you got, E?
Yeah, no, I mean, a couple other things they had on the metrics report card. They had vocal sentiment. We talked about that one. Rating last week. Obviously, they're not going to give your actuals and your forecast for anything. Average DAU, which I'm not entirely sure what that stands for, but you got new players. Average weekly return rate.
Daily active users.
Daily
is
active
DAU.
users. Yep, there you go. So then you got new players, 12% up. Say that's over a random week. This is probably for something recent, maybe. Average weekly return rate. You can see how often they come back week over week. And then average weekly win back. I don't know if, Travis, you know this one specifically. This one's not entirely clear. This could be like, is this like a Mooch where like, hey, you want a player back, go ahead and play? Is this a lapsed player coming back or something?
That's exactly what it is. Lapsed players.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got gross revenue up, expansion revenue up, microtransaction revenue a little bit down.
Shout out to Tess.
And then average ARP of the average daily average user. What is ARP? That's going to got to be like average spend or something like that. Every daily average user or something like that. ARP. Average revenue per daily average user or something like that.
Ooh. They got the dollar sign over our head.
Yeah, and say those two are both down as well.
How much did he
So,
hit at the ATM today?
And again, like expansion's up like 24%, microtransactions are down. We don't know when this is exactly from, but the idea is they track all this stuff. They know microtransactions, how much they get per expansions, how often players are playing. Now, they could have more stuff that they're not showing of like how long people are playing, like how many hours they play, and that type of stuff we don't see. And they know that stuff too. But again, the fact that we're seeing some of this stuff, and Bungie showed thought it was weird, a little interesting, a little bit of both, personally. So just to see a little bit behind the curtain of what they are watching. And if you're wondering, do they want you logging in every week? 100% they do, of course, because that's how this little model goes. But as we said, we're at the point where last season it was that 8 or 9 week season and then dragging on to finally finish things out. But then on the other side, now we get a 4-week story. And you get a little tighter experience and you get a little bit of a longer break. And I think that's where we're actually seeing a positive change for their tune in for next week's episode. The seasons of TV just got a little bit shorter and tighter, but we still got a very good story. Could I've used like a week or two more on this one? Maybe, but on the other side, like I think it was a well-told story, didn't need to be longer, and then now you get a little chance to breathe, as you guys are saying. The breathing from the game is what's going to help us enjoy. So that's the fun part.
I agree with that. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they found their little pocket that works. And as much as sometimes we are that small percentage of the hardcore, it says we want more content. They got the metrics to back up, and this model is working for them. So, and now with Sony's backing, that's going to be huge for them for the future, long term. I know Travis is concerned about the movies and stuff like that, but we'll see. We'll see.
We won't know on that stuff.
I'm concerned about the whole acquisition, actually.
Yeah, I know. I like dig it.
But for the TWAB, we'll cover the main point of the TWAB. We do want to touch on: are you guys monsters or mechs? I gotta know.
Mech.
I had to go Max, bro.
Max,
look
okay.
Monsters look good, but
Monsters?
Max, bro.
If anybody has ever heard of the word Gundam, yeah, this is Gundam. Straight up.
The Titan is Gundam. The Hunter is Cade, basically. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I like the Warlock look like something out of Fantasy Star. I don't know what it looked fire. Like,
yeah.
The Titan just look like, if you're a Titan main, you can't be on the monster team because the Cyclops looks so lame compared to the dope Transformer Gundam.
Yeah, you
wing,
literally are
dude.
Gundam wing. Yeah,
you're the Titan's got the coolest outfit.
So wait a minute,
yeah,
I hate to interrupt this.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say
I have absolutely no idea what you guys are talking about, but I gotta tell you something.
Here, check out.
It's sparking my interest.
Yeah. So the past 2 years, Bungie's done this thing where they have a community vote to see which armor set they're going to be adding to the game.
Okay.
And it's for their Halloween event, so they're always really over the top costume.
That Halloween event is classic.
Yeah. Yeah. So last year it was dinosaurs versus movie monsters like Swamp Thing and Cyclops and stuff. And dinosaurs won pretty handily. I think they said 80+% was voted for that one. And this year the monsters are back and they're going up against
I'm seeing it.
mechs. And so just based on those those concept arts, where do you think you're at, Mooch, as a Warlock?
I mean, I'm looking at them right now. I mean, I got to be honest with you. So I'm looking, and I'm seeing. So there was 3 sets. There's the mechs versus monsters involved. Is it the mechs are on the top? No, the monsters are on the top.
Monsters are on the top.
Monsters are on the top. Yeah.
So I mean, and you guys got to help me here a bit because like I'm not used to the Warlock ever getting any kind of praise or anything at all that's worthy of wearing from my days back in the day. I'm definitely leaning towards the. I know you're not gonna. I don't think you guys are gonna like my answer, but I think
You like the monster warlock.
I'm going on the monsters, man.
No, the monster warlock is
What is
better.
the monster warlock? Is that Swamp Thing?
No, I'm with you on this, Mooch. No, I know what you're
Creature
doing.
from the Black
The
Lagoon or
monster
something?
warlock looks better than the
100%.
mech warlock. I just
100%.
feel that as a set, the mech set for Titan. I know all you care about is warlock, so I know
That's
where
all
you
I care about.
I
But that's
know.
okay. No, I respect your opinion. I
Yeah.
respect
No,
your
but I think you're onto it. From a purely warlock perspective, I cannot dispute what you just said.
No, it looks good.
The monster looks good for the warlock, but for the rest of the classes, I mean, damn, the Titan is that's just a slam dunk win. Like they just like gunned them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it is. It is.
and then
But
Hunters
you were
get
right,
to play
though. The
Cade.
Hunter is Cade.
It's
Hunter is
Cade.
Cade. It's Cade. It is.
Cade.
Yeah. Let's
Fire.
stop fooling ourselves. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will be. So make sure basically that your emails, links, your Bungie profile and emails are set up. So you get the alerts, and then April 7th or April 13th, the polls will open, and you'll probably only get the poll if you have your emails linked up. So make sure you get those if you want to vote. So set those things up. And if you vote, all you got to do is vote. Whichever way you vote, you will get an emblem. Not a bad looking emblem, by the way. Not too bad on that one. But the big thing in the TWAB, I wanted to talk about this because Travis, we have been waiting for anything related to Crucible, anything related to comp.
Classic
And
red is battle.
no. Like I think it's gonna be a while, but I think this is the fact that it's actually gonna be mentioned more than anything. Survival is the name of the game when it comes to our competitive Crucible playlists. We offer powerful rewards, sadly not Pinnacle, to our players who take on the challenge each season as they reach the power cap. For those who wish to display their Crucible mastery, we offer the Unbroken Seal and Title. The Unbroken Seal and Title is not going to be available in Season 19. So you have Season 16, Season 18, 17, and 18 to get to Legend each season to get that. Now that's something, if you want to do that, more power to you. But in Season 19, they are going to be changing things up. For Season 19 release, now Season 19 is the one that's right before Nightfall. So this is 9 months away, probably. It's going to be a little while. They're taking a pass on glory and how players engage with it in the Crucible. What playlists offer glory? How do players earn it? What does Become Legend look like? We can't answer any of these questions just yet, but we wanted to plant a flag for the future. As for our updates for glory, the Unbroken Seal title, basically you just need to get that now because you won't be able to. If you don't get your
What's happening to it? What's happening to the seal?
The seal's going to go away because if you don't get Legend this season, if you don't start your work towards Legend this season and say you wait till next season, you won't have enough time to get it 3 times. So they're giving you warning now to start working on it. So that's all they're doing.
Sorry to interrupt. Just for clarity, they're removing a hardcore goal that was in the game. Is that what's happening?
No, you're trying to poke fun at something that's not there. Now you're just trying to poke a beast that I'm not even getting to right now. All I'm saying is they are going to rework the glory playlist in Season 19. Yes, it is 9 months away, but it does seem like the competitive playlist has potential to get reworked. Now, I have no idea what that means. Is this going to be anything that Crucible players that have come through the podcast that Travis has asked for, a ranked system? Is it going to be anything like that? I'm not going to have my hopes very high, but I wanted to get Travis's thoughts when he read this. The fact that they are going to rework how glory works in Season 19. Do you have any hope for this, Travis?
I do. Actually, I think Cog's characterization of this is the exact opposite of what he's thinking it is. So, the Unbroken Seal has meant nothing for a really long time because they made it super easy to get. Like even people who aren't really PvP mains or tryhards could get it because the freelance playlist, and there's a bunch of ways to just get it, right? So I don't think it really meant anything. And we've all agreed that the competitive playlist is not really, it doesn't achieve its goal of really challenging the competitive. It doesn't have a ranking system or anything like that. So with that in mind, I don't think there's really a whole lot worse than what we currently have. And if they're reworking it, I'm willing to hear them out. I mean, they can't just keep doing the same thing they're doing now, right? And so any change is good change for me. I'm just happy to hear that they know that it's a problem. And to E's point, like, we don't know what it's going to look like yet, but why be pessimistic when you don't know the facts yet? I say we know the facts as they stand, which is that competitive is in a not great state, and that so far as we knew up until yesterday, they were planning on just keeping the train rolling in the same direction. And I think that the fact that they're saying, hey, let's relook at this and change the way it is, that should be comforting and exciting to anybody who cares about the PvP sandbox in Destiny. So I'm not at all skeptical about this. I think like I said, it's bad now. So what harm could possibly happen?
How worse can it get?
No, yeah. What are we risking by changing things? I mean, just do it.
I was gonna say, Cog, fix your face.
I was waiting for this. I'm trying to start trouble, but my thing is,
you're trying to start trouble when there's nothing to start. I was like, what are you doing?
It is. It's more fun. So I'm just curious because, like, you know, from the hardcore perspective, and shout out to Forte, who's in the chat, and I think
and
Forte
he agrees with
title.
Travis.
No, I'm not trying to. I'm just asking questions. So
You
my
are
thing
trying
is,
to start a fire, you piece of.
I'm just asking questions. So my question is, like, because from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a title that you live in the competitive playlist, right? You have to play multiple seasons, right, to gain this. So I was just curious for the hardcore that now it appears that they will be taking away the multiple season grind aspect, because I know some people feel that this is don't say prestigious. Obviously, it's not the same as going flawless, right? But there were a lot of people that at one time when competitive was the thing, right, that they wore that unbroken. I was just curious that if the hardcore felt, you know, any way that they may potentially remove the multi-season aspect of it.
I would say before Travis goes, we just got done talking about them giving the ability for people to step away, play when they want to, and have the option of doing that type of thing. And this is leading more into that. Now, can you go hard? Now, granted, I don't expect them to do ranked. If they do, I will be 1,000% surprised. But
you really don't expect them to?
I would love it, honestly. I would just rather have my expectations low and see it than be like, hey, let me see a ranked playlist and be like, hey, we got a little tweak. Like, I would rather expect little now and just wait to see what they do in the future. As you said, they're changing it. In my eyes, it can't be bad, but also it's this way for you to, if they give you a way to grind and you go hard in one season, you should be able to, because now you're going to guild your new seal. You're not going to spend multiple seasons getting it. So the gilding may be something, if you're like, you know, PvP God, whatever the seal is for that one, it's PvP God 2, 3, 4. And then that's how you flex, as opposed to taking multiple seasons to get something. And maybe maybe 6 months down the road, you have a completely different job and now you can't get it. Like that's frustrating. So they're making it not easily accessible. I think they're changing the way you get to it. So it's probably not going to be easier, but it will be contained in a season, I would expect.
And I don't speak for all the sweaties out there. I don't speak for everyone. I'm probably like less. I'm probably more casual now than I've been in the past, just because the PvP sandbox hasn't been particularly kind to us faithfuls.
Yes.
But I don't think the unbroken seal had that much meaning to the PvP community, because it was pretty easy to get just in general. Like it wasn't. You didn't have to like.
You're the high percentage.
No, I really am not.
Bourgeois.
Destin has it. Destin has unbroken. Like, have you seen
Damn,
Destin play?
Destin under the bus.
Have you seen him play? I mean,
damn! Make sure his access still works when he comes back to.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, and he did it through the freelance playlist exclusively, right? And if like. It's just I don't think I personally.
So you looked at the unbroken dudes like
that's nice. You
I never wear it. I'll tell you. I walk around with the Chronicler on. That's the one I wear. So all I have to say is for me, the unbroken seal really didn't mean anything. They made it pretty attainable, and I don't think that people are going to be upset. But more importantly, if we agree that the fundamentals of the comp playlist wasn't working, why in the heck would you want to keep going in that direction? I just think this is rip the Band-Aid off, do what you got to do, rebuild it. Personally, I think in 9 months, you know,
Okay, no, I get it now. I get it.
I think
Like,
there's a chance. I think there's a chance in 9 months when this comes out that PvP is matter, right? Whatever that game is. I mean, who knows? Who knows what it's going to be?
I got you now. So basically, it was like to Travis, like Flawless, Chronicler. That was Gucci, Balenciaga. Like that was Umbral was like Walmart to you. That was like Target.
It was more just like it just didn't represent.
Walmart and Target are on different levels, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah.
Target.
It was kind of a shrug. It was like, all right, well, they have Unbroken, but that doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't tell me if they're like super.
I get it now. Okay, I got you. I got you.
And I wanted to know, like, if you have a symbol over your head, sometimes it tells you things about that person. If you see somebody with a blacksmith over their head, you know that person hates themselves. And that is a very important thing to know when you see a player. And so for me, Unbroken just meant, well, I don't know, they could have been into PvP 3 years ago, that maybe they haven't played it in a while, maybe they only do freelance, and I just feel like I want your seal to tell me like something specific about you, like
got you. Okay, I get it now.
Something like that. That's what I mean. So.
See, Mooch, I'm learning.
You guys are getting specific into one particular topic, but where is the state of Destiny 2's PvP?
Oh God,
is that something where you guys are religiously playing it, or you've kind of stepped off?
That is not in a good place right now. It is a bit of a fire made of trash, mostly.
They haven't added a multiplayer map in almost 2 years,
2.5 years, 2 years,
2.5 years, and before that, I think the map they added was just one, right? And then they haven't added any game modes in a couple years.
So Iron Banner doesn't hold the weight it used to, or does it?
It does for grinding if you're trying to get end game.
Yeah, there's 4 bounties that give you some pinnacle gear, but outside of that, people do the bounties. You have tokens. Iron Banner is getting reworked next season. So there will be some changes there. Well, hopefully that has a little better direct access to loot. Iron Banner's not a bad event, but it's also stagnant. Very, very badly stagnant, both in the fact that it's always control. Every time it's their little Iron Banner tweak on control, but that never changes because we haven't had many modes in a while. PvP playlists are basically the same they've been for a while, and we haven't had much in there. We haven't had new modes. The maps, as Travis said, haven't been put in there in a while. I mean, they added stuff like freelance, and that's like a big deal when they announce freelance playlist. It's nice so you're not playing against stacks of 6 people and you're just like everybody's solo. But outside of that, no, PvP has not got much love, honestly, in a couple of years. So it's due, and I think season 19 is going to be that. Let's try and build up PvP. Hopefully it's, there's a decent amount of PvP focus in 19 right before Nightfall. That's why I think that's time that way.
Is the community speaking out about this? I mean, is the community loud and clear, or are they content with their PvE?
No,
you have this weird thing where the PvP community will say this is a problem, and then you have the other part of the community, which is probably a majority, saying, "Oh, you guys don't matter, shut up." And it's a really
I thought you were going to say that, Travis.
It's a really weird, like in even the people that should be allies, the Destiny stands. There's like this weird divide where the PvP are convinced that the PvP doesn't matter in the game, and I think that they only say that because it's in a bad place and that they're diehard Destiny fans and they don't want to hear negativity. But it's like, it is part of the game, and it's a not good part of the game. And if you want to like hand wave and go, oh, well, that's not really what Destiny's about, then I think that you are living in a world that does not reflect reality.
Coming from where I was with the game initially, I played a lot of PvP back early on. I did. And let's just be honest, let's credit to them to what we've said. That's that amazing gunplay, the way that it feels. There's just not a lot of games out there like that. So I will say this much, though. Again, like I said, Mooch has been on the outside looking in, right? And I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped looking in because I miss the community. And the one thing I did notice, because I follow Ebontis, you have no idea. I follow what this man does. This man eats, lives, breathes this game, as I'm sure a lot of other people do too. But I did notice people starting to taper off from the PvP. Yeah. And the reason being was the last time I was back in the PvP, we got to go a ways back. We got to go back over a year. And I remember when I went back and revisited it, it didn't have the feel. It didn't have the community. It didn't have that appeal. And even Iron Banner kind of lost a little bit of that. It just lost a little bit of that touch. You guys remember, right? Destiny. Remember Destiny early on when it was Iron Banner week?
Bro, the whole crew was on.
You took your phone, you shut it off, you told people you had the plague, you were like, leave me alone. I just wanted to play that until I got my gear. And I just, you know what it was more than the gear? And I hate to say this because when it comes to Destiny with me, the gear means so much, but it was about playing PvP with my friends and enjoying that community. And I noticed that as I kept on saying, guys, Iron Banners this week, less and less and less people came to the party. So that's why I asked this question. Again, I promised the chat and I promised the panel tonight that even though I've been away, these questions are for people that may have stepped away for a minute, that may listen to the show later on. But for me, I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say, because you guys sleep, eat, bleed this game. So I trust your opinions very much. And when you say that PvP community has taken a hit because of the developers kind of leaving that to the side, I'm with Travis. I'm with Travis in the fact that this is part of the game. And even if you enjoy the PvE aspect of it more, which, by the way, I respect that. I totally respect that. You have to not, you can't neglect the other side that was there from the get-go. And there's a large portion of people that play it for that. And I was one of those people. I'll call myself a 50-50 on that one. I also enjoyed it. So I hope that when we see these plans and I see Nightfall and I see these other moving into 2022, into 2023, I hope we see some sort of a plan from Bungie to revitalize the PvP with a new map, with new modes. Listen, and I know I'm cross-referencing this into something else, but Cognito, me and you've talked about this a number of times. It's the same thing that I had a concern with Halo Infinite. It's the same concern I say here. You launch a game, you launch new expansions, you have to give people new modes, new maps. You have to.
Sure.
And I don't mean that with any
No, it's real. That's real. It's real.
It's what keeps people engaged. So
Absolutely.
I hope that what you guys say is true. I hope that I'm sure. Listen, there's no way Bungie's not listening to this very episode, right?
Sure,
I mean, come on, Ebontis, let's just be real.
They listen to E. I mean,
they do.
So they do, of course they do. So I hope I hope they put a lot of attention into it, Travis, because it is important. That is a large portion of this game, and I personally loved it.
And ironically, the PvE people who are sort of like poo-pooing the PvP community as not being central to the game. The ironic thing is they're sort of cutting off their nose to spite their face, because the PvP community is always what has kept Destiny alive during content droughts and all that stuff.
I was just about to say that.
It's like they were dependent on each other in a certain way. It's sort of another mode. So I don't know. I think a lot of the PvP brain trust got moved onto this other project that Bungie's working on, and we'll see if that has any involvement in the Destiny game. I don't know if it's going to be a fully separate game, or if it's going to have some sort of tie-in to the Destiny universe, or be related in some way, or if you'll be able to pull your account and your character over to this new game. We have no idea what it is, but I will say, to their credit, they did spend some time late last year reworking Trials. They made this announcement about the comp playlist finally, and they also said that at some point they're going to bring back a Rift, one of the modes that they took out. Which, to be fair, some people are like, "Oh, Travis, what about Rift?" I got that on Twitter a couple times, and I was like, "Yo, that's an old mode that they took out of the game when they moved to Destiny 2." So like, it's the same thing as them. It's the same thing as them putting in an old map that I've already played on. Like, it's good. It's better than what I have now, which is nothing. But it's not exactly something to parade in the streets about. So I am super excited about Rift. I will play a ton of that when it comes back. But also, let's not give them too much credit. We haven't had a new game mode since I think the Taking King or something.
There's supposed to be a couple of the game modes literally over the course of this year. We're supposed to get theoretically one new map and then one D1 map over the course of the rest of the year as well. That's not a lot. Now, a couple of modes can help give a lot of these maps a little bit of life, but we still don't even know what those are when they're coming. I mean, is Season 17 going to be a mode? Is Season 18 going to be Rift? Is Season 19 going to be a mode? That's more PvP than we'll have seen in years, which would be nice. But again, we still don't know. But it does feel like the fact that they mentioned this for Season 19 feels like that'll be kind of like where PvP really does get the focus. Maybe drop a couple modes throughout the year, might give it a little bit of life. But as you guys have said, I just talked about eight weeks. Not a lot going on in the PvE world. Yeah, you can do some Grandmaster stuff, but if people, especially solo, be hey, I just want to go play some PvP. I enjoy some PvP, and it's like, if it's the same stuff over and over and over, you do get tired and you will go move on. If they want that weekly engagement, those other modes, like Gambit may be dying in a corner somewhere. That one, it's fine. But PvP is still a part of most games at this point, and if they're finally starting to show it love, a little bit at a time, it can't come fast enough. The more we get on
Yeah.
that one, the better, just to help these.
I was shocked to hear what you just said about this.
Mhm.
You said Gambit's holding its own?
No, Gambit's dying in a corner.
Okay. Oh, well, I thought you said Gambit originally can go die in a corner. I thought you said it
Oh
was
no,
doing all right.
it did.
When
it
I
did.
played that mode, I mean, listen, that just wasn't made for me. I couldn't get into it, Cognito. I could not do it. I tried. I really did. Played a bunch of rounds of it. It just that's not the mode I'm looking for. You know what I mean? And I mean, did you guys stick around for long? And I'm not asking you your opinion today because your opinion today is about. I think we're all on the same page. But when it first came out, was it something that you thought you could get a grasp on and stay in tune with, or no? Absolutely not. This was I felt it wasn't for me almost right from the get go.
It was weird because I did like. It was funny, Trav. I actually played it with Destin. My first time was playing with Destin and Sean Finnegan ever.
Yeah, I
at
felt
E3.
like it had potential, but
It had
was one of those
potential.
things they never developed. Yeah,
Right. And the peak potential moment is when me and E got excited, like, oh, okay, they're doing what is it? The suits with the rolls and the okay, maybe, right? Like they really taking it serious, but it never really
Well, even
took
that's
off.
like that system was like, let me earn armor
Right.
in another
mode that doesn't help me in that mode, but I got to use it over here. Like that already is just like, no, it was.
Yeah.
You're not helping your game. This whole one world universe, you're making everything disjointed, and that just didn't help.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No,
Yeah,
Gambit definitely is. I don't mean for. I'm sorry for the devs if you guys are listening to this. I know you guys put some work into this one, but it just got patched, and we are going to have Gambit Labs. I don't know if I'm going to try it or not, but Gambit Labs is going to switch up the invasions. I might try one or two just to see how it feels. But I mean, there's an ornament that sits there, and you have to reset Gambit basically twice to get it. I have not done that.
No.
I have not done. I can't even remember why. I don't think I've got that one season since it's been an option.
No,
And it's just, I'll do Vanguard Strikes and I'll do Crucible and get the ornament and the weapon of the season, the Pursuit ones. I cannot bring myself to, because the seasonal challenges you can usually skip to. That is always one I skip. I don't.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say in reference to the PvP part, and I know we're beating this dead horse, but for Mooch, because he's been away, is that the thing that I've seen, it was a multiple things. And the first thing was the cheating was just outrageous.
Oh, that was horrible.
So it just destroyed the complete integrity of the game. Right.
Okay.
So people were literally paying people going to these sites and doing all this, to get people through on trials and flawless. So that killed it. Then you had the whole PvP, PvE balance thing where one thing is OP in PvP, then it nerf it and it affects PvP. So they had that to go through. And then my issue, was the rewards. Like I came from when, you had a healthy set. When you did Iron Band, like you said, there was a healthy set of rewards to go chase. And you're like, every week, okay, what's the reward? And then they started being lazy. It wasn't no rewards. Like, it was just like, what's going on? This has been the same gun for like 6 months. Like, what's going on? So you had that. And then to Travis's point, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, then they really started not respecting the hardcore and having a rank system and really letting the hardcore see where they are, right? And the whole echelon of things. And it was just a snowball effect. So what it is now they blow it up. Okay, now they did the anti-cheat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this slow baby.
Yeah, they were working on foundational stuff. Now they're trying to get like developers in there to work on making maps and work on making modes. It's like they had the whole team, as you guys have said, whatever the alternate IPs are, huge chunks of whatever PvP focused people got pulled. There's no other way. There's no other way because they basically just let PvP flounder for so long. Now we're finding like, Joe Blackburn had the 20 tweet post about, hey, this is the thing, these are the schedule, this is what we're working on, we know, da. Like he did address it to that point. And now we're slowly starting to see a little bit of time frames, a little bit of commitment to PvP. It's slow, but the ball is slowly started rolling. Shout out to Gaming Forte, by the way. PvP was my main chick. But my side chick, PvE, started treating me better. So I made the decision to leave my girl of 7 years for the amazing side chick.
Oh, Forte.
I mean, it makes sense. But I will say, can I just, I'm going to say really quickly, but it probably isn't quickly. Just respond to what New Rad said in the chat, which is that he thinks PvP has hurt Destiny more than it's helped it in the time that it's been around, which is a completely wrong take, and you should be ashamed of even typing that or thinking it. And I just because it completely misunderstands the economy and the vision that Bungie had and still has, even in the mistakes that they've made. And it also minimizes the kind of impact that it's had on the game, which is that there probably wouldn't be a Destiny today without PvP. PvP has sustained the game through droughts that it probably would not have made it through without it.
Yeah,
and it also has the vital role of giving a sandbox for people to show off the stuff they've earned. Without that, you're just shooting at computers that can't feel the impact and the weight of what you've gotten. If you bring a dope loadout that you earned in the game into the PvP sandbox, then it starts that conversation, and it gives you that place to kind of show off and to use those tools. And it is an end game activity for lots of people. And so I get that at times it has hurt the game because people balance issues, it splits the focus of the team. But to say that it's hurt the game or that it's helped it is incredibly wrong. And I don't know if it's just a complete misunderstanding of game development, or if you just don't like PvP yourself. But I can't get behind that in even the slightest sense.
That was
you're wrong.
Wow. Travis went in. I got to be honest with you. I will say this much though. I thought Travis made a great point there in saying, you acquire these weapons, right, and their capabilities, and just firing those off at, ads or things like that. That's one thing, but to fire it off, feel that impact as you hit somebody in PvP. He's dead on accurate with that. And don't tell me that after you got a great kill in PvP, you didn't go ahead and I'll use one of LordCognito's, a little bit of a smirk came on your face, right? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So shout out to Travis for really putting that in perspective. I got to say, as you were saying that, I'm sitting here saying, preach, just keep going on. Because I do think it's a very important aspect of the game. So it was a great selling point.
It's not for everybody. I get it. But I have to lean Trav. I do feel when PvP's in a good place, it can carry Destiny, and it literally. I remember, man, like House of Wolves. I remember like that game was. I couldn't get anybody really to play, and then Trials debuted, and they didn't really have a lot of PvE content at the time, but that kept the player count and people coming back week to week and stuff like that. So if they could figure it out, the last part I'll say, which is they literally blew up the building to put a more better foundation. So we got the anti-cheat. Now they have to come with the content because the content just has not been there. The maps, the modes, and all that, and the rewards. And then they got to get in the ranking system, please.
I was like, I'm just watching chat. I'm listening to you guys talk. And to me, I can't say like PvP has made things worse. Are there balancing moments that are annoying to me when they affect PvE side of things due to the way they want the coherent sandbox? That's the thing. Rook's sitting there saying, why would I play D2 PvP when there's Halo, Apex, COD, other things that are better PvP games? And there are things that are going to be more focused on PvP. I'm actually not really going to argue that. But there are moments if people want to spend their time in the Destiny universe, you go get a palindrome and a strike in a Nightfall, and you get that God roll PvP. Where are you going to use a palindrome? You're going to use it in PvP. Okay. That's where that gun is built to be used. It is a 140 with very specific perks that are good in PvP. Now, is it weird that you get a PvE gun or a PvP gun in PvE? Yes, that weird crossover sometimes is a bit odd, but that's kind of the way they get you to float back and forth between. I would say, honestly, I think PvP, the people who are burned by it and hate it, and Gambit as well, if they didn't force you into any of those so much when, say, a PvE person didn't want to, maybe they just want to live in PvP or PvE. I'm going to say that one too many times and cross it. But if they didn't force you always like, hey, for your weeklies and your dailies and your seasonal challenges and all of the things, if they didn't always like press somebody to go in there, and I know it's like, hey, come check out these other part of the games. It's okay to like steer you there every so often, but it does feel sometimes, especially with the way the playlist have been stagnant for a while, it's like, oh, I got to go do my PvP again. And some of us have been playing so long, the seasonal grind is like, oh, I got to get these levels up, got to do this thing. And it used to be even worse with like the 50 levels. That was worse than it is now. So it's been a long time building for some people where they've been pushed so much into those activities when they haven't been in a great state. I can see that. But me, I also don't think it has made the game worse either, because there are times I'll go in PvP. Yeah, I have moments where I'm like, oh God, why am I facing a 3-stack that looks like they've got 1,000 flawless runs? Like, this is so broken. But on the other side, I'll go in a trials match and I pull out a 0-4 and come back 5-4 and win that thing. And I have an amazing moment in trials PvP. And I'm going, it's not all bad. Again, it's not all good, but there is something to playing against. Again, this is why they said it in the first place. Take those guns you've earned in the world and go shoot PvP players. It feels different. It has that unique experience every time. And as you guys have said, the carry through so many droughts over the course of this 8-year history we have, you can't disregard that. There are better things than Destiny PvP, but I also think there are things that, you know, the space magic is unique. I love Mayhem every so often just to burn off some steam. It is just stupid fun. And I wish, honestly, they would do things like momentum control where guns feel different. Like, you know, one trigger pull on a pulse rifle. Bam. It's just, that's the type of stuff I wish they had more of. So there are...
They need to experiment more with their...
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I just...
And I think the problem right now is not that the gunplay sucks and that Destiny is like unsavable. It's just that they haven't nurtured that part of their sandbox, that part of their game. It just needs... It needs maintenance. It needs that sort of, it needs building on and then that sort of thing. But it's not just completely dead because, oh, Halo made a good PvP sandbox. Well, there's only allowed to be one good PvP game at a time. So I guess Destiny should just close up shop. Everybody just play Halo. That's just not how it works. Like, I can't bring Vex Mythoclast into Halo, right? I can't bring my PvE accomplishments into Apex Legends. I can't do that. And so I think I think they can fix it, and I know they can because it's Bungie. Damn it, I know they can fix it. Like, they are the PvP masters. So I just want I want them to do it, and I'm sure we'll get it in time. But it of course it's frustrating. Of
course, listen, I always consider it a core pillar. I mean, they have a pinnacle for it every week. They consider it a core pillar. Just by their actions and the way they want you to level, they wouldn't have it in a pinnacle category if it didn't. So I agree. I just think if it's done right, it's in a good place. What makes Destiny so unique. You have these different things that compiles this great package, and you just want everything to be treated equally.
Yeah. So being as the PvE side of things is in a very good spot, not perfect, but very, very good. And now we're seeing potential with PvP having light. It's pretty far out there on horizon, but we got a little light.
There's light.
The tunnel, the switch at the very far end of the tunnel has actually been flicked on. Like,
well, now we know we're in a tunnel, Ebontis.
As opposed to we were just in a dark void. Yeah, we were just in a dark void. We were in that part in Elden Ring where you have to pull out the torch, otherwise you don't know what's around you.
Yes.
And now somebody very far away, somebody lit the torch on the other side of the giant warehouse, and now you're like, all right. There's a direction. So
there we go.
Coming up, we will have Trials Freelance on the 8th. And then this coming weekend, Trials is going to be Zone Capture. So if you are jumping in Trials, got a little mix-ups. I wish Freelance was next to Permanent.
I know.
Just because when I jump... Yeah, I mean, it's like, just give it as an option. 3 stacks only and Freelance only. The whole 2 pair, I'm sorry. But yeah, at that point, the 2 pairs probably just need to go. But either way, we got a hot fix coming up. So again, no holding Xur hostage. Couple random things. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on with
Trials?
Destiny?
Can I ask a question about Trials too? Because it's been a very long time since I've revisited that. Is Trials still for the elite? Is it still for that upper echelon? You guys know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah,
they casualized it pretty hard last year. And
how'd they do that, Travis? What did they do to actually bring that down to earth a bit?
The question.
I mean, this is a very long conversation we're about to get into.
Okay, make it short. Make it short.
Give me the short version, Travis.
They made it more accessible. They made it rewarding, even if you don't win. They added options like Freelance where you don't have to play with a full team. And they created a way where if you win at Trials, you go into a separate playlist where you don't play with people who haven't won yet. So as the weekend goes on, you have a better chance of winning because you're playing with your peers more often. So they definitely made it less of like a mountaintop. It's not unattainable. If you play even you try moderately, you'll get there. Like I usually get there on my first ticket now. It's not really much of a challenge when I do play it.
But Travis, now since because Cognito and Ebontis said basically we opened up a can of worms here.
Oh God.
Has these changes pissed you off in a sense?
Oh God! Oh, did you give him the script? But
I don't know if anybody's
how to poke the Travis.
I was gonna say I don't know if anybody's saying Big Bang, but it's like asking Sheldon a question.
Right?
Like he's literally asking everything this man has fought and died for. We've argued. He's literally twisting every knife into the gut. Like I'm just sitting there like Mooch know what he's doing. Mooch know damn what he's doing. He plays me.
Cog, they wanted me for 60 minutes, but I turned them down. Listen, I got to be honest with you, right? Travis, I mean, what is it? Because I'm dying to know because there's a reason that someone like myself that I love a challenge. I love that.
For sure.
It's why I play my Souls games. It's why when people said you can't play Returnal, I platinumed it. I don't care. If you say I can't, I want to. You know what I mean? So my point being is, so Travis, this was something in Trials that someone like myself said, I got to get good. It sounds like they made it so you can just
So
play
my
the
problem,
game and
it's more nuanced than Cog and E are making it, I think, which is that I'm not upset that they made Trials more accessible and rewarding for people who aren't as sweaty, right? I don't care about that. The thing that I don't like is that there's currently in Destiny no end game activity for PvP if you want to play competitive. The competitive playlist doesn't actually pit you against people in your ranking or skill bracket, and Trials now no longer does that either. It no longer represents that super difficult activity, and so there's this gap that's left. And so when we were discussing this, Cog and E were saying this is great, Trials is dying as a mode, this is what they have to do to make it survive, which I agree with. It was dying as a mode. But my hope was that they would go the other way and they would fix it by making it a good competitive mode. And they went the other way and basically just gave up on having a competitive endgame activity. And so now my hope is that they're going to take the comp playlist and make that what Trials isn't. And Trials will become more Iron Bannerish, which I'm totally fine with. I don't need to feel like I get this mode that's just mine, and because I'm the best of the best, I get the best loot. That's not what that's. Why do you gotta do that? That's not what it is at all. That's not what it is at all. What I want is I want to be able to see where I rank. I want to know my rank, and I want to have that goal of like, I want to level up. I want to get from diamond to platinum, whatever the thing is. I want to get from silver to gold. I want to see that kind of like. Iron is sharpening iron. I'm becoming like a better weapon. I'm ranking up, and I want there to be some sort of like in Rocket League or whatever, the higher rank you get up to at the end of the season, you get rewards based on the highest rank you achieve, that sort of stuff. Like, I just think that sort of system would be fantastic in Destiny. Yeah. I hoped that Trials would be that system, and they were like, no, we have different plans for Trials, but now we're seeing maybe they're refreshing comp, and maybe comp will be that thing. I just want there to be an end game mode. Yeah. And I'm not upset about Trials or anything like that, but I want there to be an end game activity for PvP desperately. And that's where I stand.
Hey, the TWAB this week actually gave you a glimmer of hope that might be something they're working on. So.
And that's why I wasn't upset, right? Exactly. If I was upset with this, then you guys would see my
Cog's up there trying to be like, do something. Come on, do something.
Fun. It's not fun if y'all don't let me create the narrative on what y'all are.
Oh. Yeah, this guy out here. I gotta make I got these two out here that make me be like, hold on, I gotta eat my food with just bone dry with no flavor. I eat boiled chicken and that's it. And I'm just like, no.
Exactly. And I gotta make Trav the most snobbish elitist I could possibly make. So it fits my narrative. Y'all not helping my narrative right now.
Yeah, you gotta let Cognito do his thing too, right? This is what he does.
Let me have my fun at y'all.
He likes building straw man. That's his hobby.
I am an instigator on some level. I fully admit.
He's like, oh, this podcast is too calm. So what I'm gonna do? It's like, okay, we gotta talk about Trials. I gotta poke over here.
Come on,
and then we got food coming up. Oh, we got.
That's true. No, you're right.
You gotta have some fun. You know when you got personalities that feel strongly.
That's right. You got to press the button that warms that seat up. That's just the way it is.
Exactly. That's good
just the way it is.
hosting 101, baby. You know the vibes.
Really, the only
Yes.
landmine that Mooch avoided during this episode was bringing up the PlayStation acquisition. That's really the only hot button we didn't touch. We didn't at least brush up against.
Well, as we seem to be wrapping up with our Destiny content. Oh, the PlayStation. No, we won't talk about the acquisition. I was actually going to talk about just the activities for the week. Nuh-uh, we ain't doing that. No, I wanted to see, for one, game delays. Nintendo obviously dropping Zelda a little farther out to 2023, somewhere in the spring, which could be like June 30th or somewhere in there. And then we've also got PlayStation dropping their PlayStation Plus tiers, not a competitor. We're not going to, we don't feel this is how we can make the quality of games that we do and all those things. I haven't listened to Defining Duke yet. I feel like that just probably dropped and you guys talked about it. But anybody's take on basically the big PlayStation subscription thing, because a lot of people do play games on PlayStation. So this is a big change for PlayStation. So, and I know the world of outside Destiny chat is Mooch's wheelhouse a bit more than it is right now. But tomorrow, this man's going to be a Destiny expert. But
my
right
entire
now,
life changes. My entire life changes the minute Ebontis says the show's over. I have to immediately jump into Destiny. So trust me. I'll be trying to mooch my way back onto this podcast. Don't you worry about it, ladies and gentlemen.
We get you back.
But if you don't mind, I'll take the mic real quick. I think that when it comes down to it, I think a lot of people that are on this panel, very fortunate, by the way, very fortunate. Shout out to LordCognito and the ILP crew for doing what they do, man. Outstanding work, day in, day out, week in, week out.
Thank you,
but I do want to say this much. We're fortunate, Cog, and I say this all the time. I had the great Jeff Grubb on Crossfire a few weeks ago, and Jeff discussed the tiers point blank. And, for the most part, he knocked a home run right out the park. He called what it was. It's 3 tiers. What this is a rebranding, right? Right now, you've got a situation where PS Plus does very well. PS Now, not so much. But it's because people don't really know what PS Now is. When PS Now also came out, it was also known as just a streaming service. Well, now it's kind of emerged, right? There's certain things that you can download right to your console. There's certain games you're going to have to stream still. That seems to be a problem that they've been having with the PS3, et cetera, et cetera. You guys know all that. We're not going to bore anybody with that on the show. But when it comes down to it, we've already been told what this was going to be, Ebontis. So when I saw the breakdown, I saw what it was. I said, okay, they rebranded it, they renamed it, and they gave it, I thought I'll say this much. I'll call it fair pricing. Only reason I'm saying fair pricing is because I'm just going to stick with my normal PS Plus. I've got PS Plus right now for about 2-3 years paid out. Guess what? Whatever they're going to give me in that rollover, that's where I'm staying. I'm going to get you get your free games monthly like you get now, and you get to play online. And, I know everybody, this is a point of contention, but you get your cloud saves, whatever. Yeah. My point being is that's where I'm staying. So I don't really have a leg in the race. This was clearly right. You've had PlayStation executives come out and say it. You've had people in the media, I believe Bloomberg even came out and said it weeks before. So give Jason Schreier his credit too. Okay, that this is not a Game Pass competitor. Yeah. I don't know why people kept on running with that notion. It's clear that Sony's not going to be doing day and date. That's what makes Game Pass Game Pass. Let's just put that right there, okay? It's not the fact that it gets 1 or 2 or 3, even 4 of the AAA games day and date from a third party. It's the fact that their first party will inevitably, when it gets when they're ready to do so, will be their day and date. Right now, you're seeing Sony with games. Okay, let's even take Ghost of Tsushima selling over 8 million, 10 million copies, right? You've got your God of Wars, your Spider-Man's doing over 20 million copies. I truly do believe Horizon Forbidden West may flirt with 20 million. Don't know if it'll get there, but in its lifespan, it'll flirt with it. They're in a position, and Cognito, we talked about this on Crossfire multiple times. They're in a position right now where Sony does not feel that type of pressure to be able to do that. And you guys know this. The reason I told Ebontis in my homework assignment for the show about the restaurant business, right, was the fact that, like, when it comes down to it, whether you're going out to celebrate your anniversary, your birthday, doesn't matter what it is, you go to this favorite restaurant because they have your favorite dish. And that dish is not recreated anywhere else. It's a recipe, okay? It could be the way that the sauce is prepared. It could even be the way, whatever it is that floats your boat. The point of the matter is Sony has a recipe with their games right now where they know that they can get the $60, $70 from each individual. Okay, we're still saying 60 for a PS4 game, but 70 for PS5. They know they can get that, and then they can plunk that game down into a PS Now subscription-based service 12, 16, 18, 24 months later at their leisure. And then they can throw it also on PC. another 12, 24, 36 months at their leisure. And you say, well, Mooch, where's your evidence? The evidence right there is God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn. I believe you also have Death Stranding. These are games that came out years ago on the PlayStation platform and then absolutely sell like hot pancakes, right? On the PC platform. And they're doing very well to also promote the PS Now subscription. So Sony knows what they have in their IP. If their IP starts to falter, the quality starts to diminish. That's why they always say things can change. And things can change on a moment's notice. With Microsoft, the situation with Game Pass is their games were not selling as well. They also went into a bit of a snag towards the end of Xbox One. They didn't develop a lot, their first party. Okay, I believe that last new AAA game we got from Microsoft was Sea of Thieves, and that was 2018. Guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. So my point being with all this rambling is that Microsoft said, hey, we've got to do something radical, and we've got to do something that really alerts and gets the consumer's attention. And they did so. They did so with Game Pass. So when I saw this news in Ebontis, because I want to hear the rest of the panel's thoughts on it, again, no shock factor, thanks to the guys that did, like the Jason Schreiers, the Jeff Grubbs out there. These guys told us what was coming down the pipeline. I knew that even if one or two small nuances that they left out we would get the other day, I knew it wasn't going to be anything that would be revolutionary and make you fall out of your chair. So again, I think the pricing is decent. I think the shock factor is at minimum. They rebranded it for people, so now you can actually combine the two services in one. And let's not forget something. Nintendo's very similar with their online, right? They've got an amazing back catalog of games that are just beloved from all the NES guys like we were talking about earlier on the show all the way up till today. Sony has that same golden bullet with their historic and beloved classic titles. Okay, they've got 700 titles or something of that nature that you could possibly get, or 340 titles up front. My point being is that that's what they're trying to lure people in with. And because before they were separated with two separate packages and prices, now you can actually get that with one combined price. It makes it easier. They gave it a simple name to understand, and they rebranded it. I don't think it gets any more complex than that. If you guys know something I don't, or there's a reason that I'm missing out, like I said, I am not going to tier up. I'm happy in the tier that I'm at, right? So I think that's basically the long and the short of it, Ebontis.
Yeah, I got to hear what Cog has to say, because the Defining Duke episode 65, the Xbox Game Pass quotes killer has arrived. That's also just for the joys of clickbait. But I wanted to get your take. No, I know. That's how you get people to click on stuff.
I thought about that too. I was like, we really do that? He's like, yeah, all right.
It's not bait.
All right,
he goes the whole meal when you click on it. You know what I mean?
No, I was like, no, it'll get the clicks. But I was going to ask, Cog, you're kind of the other side generally, you know.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, I agree for the most part with what you said. I mean, to me, this is just a consolidation of two services. You know what I'm saying? That's just what this is. Like, there's nothing revolutionary to me in that respect. So it's just like PlayStation Now wasn't really doing well. PlayStation Plus is doing phenomenal. There's a tier there, you rolled it in. I'm of the mindset this way, and I kind of said it on Duke, like, it's values in the eye of the beholder. What Game Pass is doing is great, right? It's day and date, phenomenal value, great, awesome. I love all that stuff. But to Mooch's point, I will say, yeah, like, they're in a position where they don't have to necessarily do that. That might not be their business model to say, hey, we're going to put our first party stuff. I mean, almost in the same vein of Nintendo, in the sense that, like, they have an identity for the third person, over the shoulder, cinematic, amazing type experience, right? And they also are like, hey, we feel our games are $70 or whatever, right? But the market's going to dictate. So until the market says, yo, we're not feeling this, you know what I'm saying? Or until let's say we have a bunch of Gran Turismo moments and we don't feel the quality is up to snuff or whatever, then it will change. I think when you're in a position of winning the last generation, you don't necessarily have to automatically match. Now, but the key for them is going to be, will this model be sustainable? Will people gravitate towards it? If people gravitate towards it, it's business as usual, then they got the algorithm, they got the metrics that's going to show, that, hey, we could stay here and it's fine. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I disagree with Mucho is that I do feel that they have alluded that it is a Game Pass competitor only because when Jim Ryan was asked specifically, hey, what are you going to do with Game Pass? And he literally was just like, yeah, we got news to come for that. So in their minds, they wanted to position themselves. Is it apples to apples? No. But they wanted to position their services in a way that they have something attractive. And, look, I'm with Mooch again. Second tier is me. I'm fine where I'm at. I'm not necessarily thrilled about the third tier and giving me streaming games and then you're naming games and I don't know what these games are, over 400 of what? Like what's in these games?
I think that's one
demos.
of the biggest questions.
I'm not interested in the demo until I can see. Until you show me the difference here is this. When you had the Game Pass situation, I had a list of here is everything that's going to compile. Here are the 100 or 200, whatever the number is, right? Yeah. I just don't know. I'm not saying that it's not going to have value. I just don't know what it is. So I'm more in a wait and see. Show me what the higher tier is going to offer me before I go balls to the wall and throw the highest tier money at them. And that's it. But that's where I'm at with it. I'm curious where you guys are.
No, I think, and just real quick, just a rebuttal. I think LordCognito nailed it. But I think when it comes, first of all, they're gonna announce the games that are gonna be part of that 370. So I think that's gonna be announced before the June launch. Mm-hmm. The other part of it is that it really is interesting though, because a lot of people were really excited about xCloud, right? And me and Cognito also had a great conversation about this in the past. Myself personally, I'm not a big xCloud fan. I don't feel like streaming my games. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are down on Sony for the streaming aspect. So they're down on the Sony streaming games, but then they're like, the very next tweet is, I can't wait to get home, or when I'm on the road, I'm going to use xCloud.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really say, right?
You don't have the download option on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's the thing. The download option is not there.
But on xCloud, if you're on your phone, you don't either. So I mean, my point being is the people saying that I can't wait to play Destiny on my phone. I'm seeing people that are saying I don't want to stream a game on my console on my couch.
I think the distinct difference is
they want choice.
They want the choice because the thing is, at home, at least with 360, you can download the game to your console and play it on a local level. Whereas this, you're forced to stream it even if you're at home. And
let me know, because I know you've probably tried it out. I have not. So when you download something onto your 360 or your Xbox One, right?
Well, Series X, but
Series X, yeah.
Well, Series X, right? So my point being though, real quick, is you're talking about native game. I'm talking about xCloud.
Okay.
I'm not talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. You're talking about xCloud.
I think what Cog is saying is that.
But when you have Ultimate Game Pass, you get xCloud too. I'm just saying, the same folks that are saying I love xCloud. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, that's streaming.
It is.
So
yeah, it is.
Right. But I'm just trying to say here, because xCloud's included with Ultimate Game Pass.
Yeah, but I think they're two different people. There's people who are excited about Game Pass or xCloud, and then there's people who
are two different people, Travis, that are excited about that. But there are also the same person tweeting out, I love xCloud. Sure. I don't like streaming Sony games.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, you're right as well.
There's always going to be the fanboys. But I think player choice is a feature. If you can download the game or play it on cloud, that's always better.
There's no doubt about that. But I think, again, when it comes down to it, this wasn't necessarily, and to answer Cog's point on this too, a lot of times this happens on podcasts, happens on shows all the time. People speak fast, they speak fast. Jim Ryan probably misspoke there.
They asked him. I got the quote. Jim Ryan gave an interview to the Taskmaster News agency where he was asked how Sony will respond to Microsoft Game Pass. Yeah. He said nobody was really expecting Sony to do anything. So Ryan's answer is surprising. There is actually news to come, just not today. You know what I'm saying? Right. So in his mind, they did have something that is going to compete.
Because it's competing in a subscription service.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is. That's what I'm saying. So he answered
they already
the question.
Had one. They had PS
Right. They actually had it before Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So my point being is that they're like, what they wanted to do is rebrand their structure because it was a mess as far as finding, like, if you didn't know, you're like, I have to subscribe to PS Plus. They want to put this together and have that package together the same way that Microsoft had done it, neat and clean. So, but again, it's nowhere near. It's not the same. We're just talking apples and oranges. We really, really are. Yeah. Because when you don't have the first-party games going in day and date, that's what Game Pass is, first and foremost. Period. You take the fact out that Microsoft's new 34 studios, take all those games that they're going to make and not put them in there, Game Pass loses a lot of hype. It loses a lot of hype. There's no way around it. Because, I mean, Travis, we just spoke before the show, right? Playing Elden Ring, playing Horizon Forbidden West, playing Wonderlands. Listen, I only got so much sand in the hourglass. I ain't got time for Tunic. Sorry, I don't. I want to. I don't. So, you know, the point of the matter,
but you've got time for Halo Infinite on day one. You've got time for Starfield on day one.
What would I just say? Those are I said if you pull those out, if those aren't there, is it what it is? No.
Well, yeah, if you change the
that's why when people say is what Sony's pitching the same as what they're pitching, I'm like, it's not the same pitch. It's not same pitch.
I think that's a strength because I was a little worried about the Spartacus announcement because I don't want Sony to try to compete with Microsoft using their model. I think Sony has a model that's distinct and unique and it works.
100%.
They've got their walled garden. Some people prefer that. Xbox has got their a little bit more accessible, kind of open, just player games model, and I think that's great. And then Nintendo is the wild card. They have their own model, and it super works for them. And so when I first heard about this, my thought was if Sony chases Microsoft, they're going to lose, and they're going to get beat with the cudgel of Microsoft's of their economic weight, the fact that they can afford their wallet. Yeah, they're a powerhouse. So I think this is more of a reorganization, whereas Game Pass is revolutionary. Game Pass is trying to be revolutionary. It's saying, hey, we're going to do away with the old model, and the new model is you just pay subscription and you get access to all the Xbox games. That's revolutionary kind of shift. PlayStation is staying, we're keeping our old one. The old model works just fine. We're making a lot of money with it. Yeah. But here's a place where you can, have access to the bargain bin. It's like, you
look at the top 10, you look at the top 10 games that are being played on Xbox right now, and in the top 3 is a game called Elden Ring. $70, folks.
For sure.
The model doesn't not work. It does work.
For sure. The model does work. I think
that's the thing. So Sony knows that, and when it's not broke, you don't fix it. Now,
I agree.
Again, like I said, the reason I think Microsoft went so radical was because what they were doing before wasn't working.
For sure.
So, like you said, Travis, what they're doing is revolutionary. Yeah, it is. But they're trying to. We'll find out if it's revolutionary. It's still a work in progress. And I think,
I would say it's definitely revolutionized the people that want to play that. Like, I have friends who are not real. They're not super hardcore gamers. They maybe buy 1 or 2 games a year, and now they just pay for Game Pass. And I see them playing all these different types of games they never would have touched. So I would say the experiment is successful. It's just a matter of.
It's like if you said, my friends used to walk by the arcade in the mall, then you handed them a bunch of quarters, and all of a sudden they're trying all these different games. And then they come out and you go, which one did you like? You're like, oh, maybe the one way in the back over there. Kind of, I don't know what it was called, but, I liked it. So my point being is that I get more people are trying games. It's more accessible. But myself, I have the opposite story. I have a lot of friends of mine that are casual. When we say casual, they buy 1 or 2 games a year, right? They'll buy NBA 2K, my one good friend, and they'll buy Call of Duty. To them, a $15 subscription a month, doesn't interest them in the least because they don't know what Tunic is. They don't know what Death's Door is. They don't know what they don't know what the Ascent is. They don't know what the Medium is. And frankly, for those folks, which by the way, we all sit here and go, that doesn't matter. It does matter because if you really want to be successful and you look at the subscription policies across the other brands that are out there, like Disney Plus and Netflix and all these other ones, right, that we compare it all against, which we shouldn't. This media is consumed completely differently than anything on Netflix or Disney Plus. But they have 200 million subscribers and they're still in debt, and they're going to be in debt up until 2024, 2025, according to analysts. So my point being is here you have 25 million, right? And you are trying to grab that casual market. The casual market doesn't know what Tunic is. The casual market doesn't care. So when we say that we have friends that try it and they dabble, they do try it and they dabble. The question is, are they going to retain them? And that's why I say it's still a work in progress. A lot of people are already waving the flag like they won. We don't know yet. And it's really going to come down to the Microsoft's first-party studios to impress. Because not only does that mean that they're going to try to grab the casual, but they need to impress to retain the hardcore. And that's an important thing to really kind of realize here. And we won't really know. Our first real test beta wasn't Halo. Okay? It wasn't Forza Horizon 5. It's Starfield. We're going to start right there, and we're going to move forward. We're going to see how that these teams do that they acquire.
I think that's a pretty arbitrary way to start it. I don't know why you're saying it starts there.
Well,
I feel like
that's your first big game that's your first big splash from your big acquisitions. I think that's that is the way to start.
Yeah, but they also acquired.
When did Forza ever not do well? Forza always did.
They acquired that company.
It's in the surface.
Yeah.
Right,
they acquired that company. That was a new company for them too. If that's
Playground.
They also acquired the IP for Gears. That wasn't theirs. Epic was making that, but I mean, we still kind of say that's always been a Microsoft property for all practical purposes. Playground.
But I guess I just don't understand the logic of hand waving that. It seems like they've proven that there is an interest in this. So 25 million subscriptions.
You would say that Forza Horizon 5 getting over a 90 Metacritic, which it's always pretty much gotten, is a measure of success for Game Pass?
No, I would say that people subscribing to Game Pass and playing it and having access to it via their subscription is proof that it works. It's people. Well,
25
like
million. I still think relatively low when you're talking about the actual number of subscription-based products out there. I mean, 25 million after 5 years.
It's a smaller market. The games in Netflix are not.
Games market is actually taking over. The games market's making more money now than the movie market.
Oh, more money. But that's
different than.
But money is different than users. There's no grandmas with a Game Pass subscription.
Then you're proving my point from the beginning. You're proving my point from the beginning. It's consumed differently, so it's not necessarily something that people want to dive in and subscribe to. Because you only have so much time. So when someone says there's 200 games in there, well, I can only play one game a month at a time, especially when we have a podcast like we're doing right now with Destiny. Destiny consumes a large portion of your time, and then you try to play one other game. You guys know how difficult that is. We talked about it earlier before the show. So to say I have 200 games waiting for me that are also in a revolving door, don't stay there forever, it's not a vault, it's not necessarily always for everybody, whether it be hardcore or casual. For sure. And the casual market is even more difficult to get into.
It's certainly not for everyone, but it's not like Xbox is saying, look, we're throwing out the old model. This is the new one. Right. They're saying, here's another option.
Here's another option. That's literally what it is.
And clearly a lot of people like that
pushing the game. They're really pushing the Game Pass model.
But I mean, you don't have to.
You don't have to. Absolutely not. But I mean, when it comes down to, you look at the other things, look at third-party games that we've released numbers for, right? Whether it be Elden Ring or any of these games, you'll see that almost 46 to 53% buy on the PlayStation market and very low buy on the Xbox market. And the reason being is they are really pushing forward. The Xbox brand is Game Pass. So it's almost like that's the way that they're kind of marketing it. Is it the only way? No, you're absolutely not. There's options. There are options. But also don't forget, everybody on this panel and everybody that's listening to the show has their ear to the ground in this business. Right. So the point of the matter is it just depends. I think right now, I think Game Pass is a wait, like Cognito said with Spartacus, basically. I still am in the wait and see category because 25 million, a lot of that 25 million is the hardcore Xbox that bought in, right? You need to get to that 100, 150, 200 million. That's where you've reached that casual market. That's where you start to see not only success on the Microsoft side as far as revenue, but you start to really see that as being a presence in the gaming market, period, how it's being consumed. So I think right now, that's why I said when you see Starfield and you see what's going to happen with Avowed and you see what's going to happen with the games coming down the road, that's really a testament to how you're going to lure in your newer customers. I mean, Halo, Gears, and Forza, we've all been here for the ride since what?
You are the hardcore. You can't disqualify. You can't disqualify based on your usage. That's what I'm trying to say. Listen,
the Halo market has always been there, Cognito. And look at the Halo right now has left the top 10 on the Xbox platform.
Right. But it wasn't
getting 9,000 sometimes players on Steam.
Absolutely. So, I mean, as far as engagement, absolutely. But
that's not me or the hardcore. That's just numbers.
No, but the numbers also dictated in MPD that it didn't have a negative effect on the sales of the game when it released into Game Pass as a free-to-play service.
I said the hardcore will always back it up, but it's nothing to do with me. That's the hardcore went out there and bought that game.
We're in the early stages. I agree, right? But we have to be careful as hardcore gamers based on what we consume. That's what the market's going to be. The casual market is also going to dictate a lot of this stuff too. So I'm with you on acquisitions. I'm with you on sustainability. I'm with you there. I'm with you that the first party game studios that they acquire have to produce quality content to maintain people in the service. That's 100%, a fact. 100%. Absolutely. Starfield, has to hit. Now the other thing,
they got to hit. They
got to hit. That's a
at
fact.
least a good portion.
That's a
You're
fact.
never going to hit a home run
Now,
out of everyone, right? That's not fair.
Absolutely. Where I definitely see where they're going is you talked about your friend, and you said the friend that he buys the Call of Duty. I know that friend too. I know that friend that buys the Call of Duty,
Absolutely.
the Madden, and whatever, and that's it, right?
That's it.
Now, guess what? They just acquired Activision, right? So if Call of Duty's in the service, well, you're right. Correct. They're in the process, right? But if all intents and purposes, it seems that it may go through, and if it goes through, then they will have Call of Duty in the service, right? They will already have EA.
That's a different conversation,
right? Then they have EA, the Madden guy, right? So it becomes a point that if you start to get these games, and then you market it correctly and you do what you're supposed to do, then they're going for that market and the value proposition. But I'm with you. It's all early. We need to see how this thing goes. But the only thing I just want to be clear, we have, as the hardcore, we have to be careful that because we don't see value in something, like I'm the same way with Spartacus. Like me personally, it's not for me. But to your point, Mooch, right? There could be a guy that says, yo, I get all this PlayStation collection stuff. I get my God of War. I get my Ghost of Tsushima. I get all this. This is great. I don't care what Cognito talking about. You know what I'm saying? This is fire. You know what I'm saying? So it all is going to be how that casual consumes it, and if Sony even has to change, because this, I'm with you in the sense of this, and Travis said this point as well. They have their own model. And like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Right.
So if the market's going to dictate if this thing works, and if it does, they'll stay status quo and stand pat, and it's up to Microsoft to do what they do. You got to see how it plays out. That's
100%.
I do think it's a little pessimistic to say that the Microsoft's model hasn't proven itself yet. I just think I find that hard.
I mean, there's nothing. You said the only massive success either.
25 million subscribers is not
25
nothing.
million subscribers is not,
it's not nothing, but it's not 200 million, or it's not the 205 million.
What is 205? No, hold on. What is the 200? Hold on, I haven't talked to
let me get on.
No, I wanted to ask, like, what's the 200 million that you're talking about? Answer that.
Well, the 200. Well, I'm saying to you right now that there's analysts that have come out and said that in order for Microsoft to actually make the money that they want to see, it's over 100. I believe it's over 100 million subscribers that would start to past the break-even mark. I mean, there's a lot of money going out.
Do we consider success if Microsoft is making money? Because I don't.
Microsoft can wipe their butt with our salaries. That's not an issue of money because they make so much. That's
if something's not doing well. It gets
okay.
cut.
Netflix
like
started. Netflix probably started in a very same way.
So it's not about me and you making 5% off of this. Nobody's making money off of this. I don't care either.
You think Mixer had 25 million paying customers?
I think Microsoft cut Mixer because it was not getting the money that they thought it was going to be making coming in. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about 25 million customers.
Not 25 million. I just think like
what I'm trying to say to you is that's a different business.
You said earlier that Xbox, the Game Pass is mostly just hardcore players subscribing to it. I don't think there's anything approaching.
I think a good amount are.
There's nothing approaching 25 million hardcore Xbox customers in the world. There just isn't. There's just not that many Xbox hardcore players.
Okay, shout out real quick. By the way, we got online stripes without clothing.
25 million. Come on,
25 million. 25 million. You know, anything with subscriptions though, Travis, goes up and down. So they said 25 million. Do you think it never drops below that? Have you ever had a subscription where you also left it and then came back? That number fluctuates. So it's not 25 million and it can never go below it. So there's times where it's at 18, then it goes 17, then it peaks up, it'll go up to 26,
and
then it'll drop again. That happens on all subscription services, even gym memberships.
For sure, but I don't know what the reasoning is behind minimizing its success, because it is a significant accomplishment, and it's also something that's helping gamers and giving them more options. And it doesn't.
I think the second part is 100% right. We don't know the success rate, so they don't share any numbers, Travis. We don't know anything about it except for 25 million, right? So we know 25 million. If you want to say 25 million is a success, I'll go ahead and say on the show that's fine for you. What I'm saying is they don't reveal anything else behind it. So
I just don't. I guess maybe I have less of a stake in if the company's succeeding or not. But to me,
it's not about the company's success.
Well, it seems like it is, because you're looking at everything on whether they're making money, and I'm looking at
if a game doesn't make money or doesn't sell well, you don't get a sequel, right? Or you don't get any more of the product. Like that's just business,
Well,
right?
un-
So what I'm saying to you is,
unless
if
the
you're a
company
fan of
backing
Game Pass,
backing
you
you
want it
has
to
$1
do
trillion,
well, right? You'd want it to continue to do well, so you'll get more games and more purchases and more revenue.
Your fault.
That's just how we continue the bit. So you're saying
But-
it's not about caring how much they make. I don't lose sleep over that. Neither does anybody else on the show.
Mm.
But like, you do have to say that you would want them to do well in order to continue the method in the program, right?
I personally don't care. I know that it is a success for 25 million people.
Okay.
And so it's successful for 25 million people. I don't care if the company's making money. Then again, I know you and Cog come from a different world of like fandoms that I have no interaction.
I'm good.
With.
I'm good.
So
We're in the fandom world. No, but I hear you. I think that right.
I'm
No, I think
good.
well, no, but I think that it comes down to, like you say, you don't care in the 25 million. There was a lot of people that worked very hard on Mixer. And you saw the Twitter responses that people they were genuinely pissed, Cog. People put a lot of time and effort into that. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared. And those people that were a part of Mixer are like the 25 million you're saying. They were happy. They were like, we're streaming. They actually left Twitch. They left their fan base there to come over. They would have said the same thing you said, Travis. They would have been like, I don't care how Microsoft's doing right now. All I know is Mixer is amazing. They are better than Twitch. They're treating me better. No latency. Love it. And then it was gone. Why? Because it didn't do well. So what I'm saying to you is, if you're enjoying it, you also do want them to succeed in order for it to continue. That's all I'm saying. It's quite simple. I'm not saying anything more or less than that. I just think that we need to see a little bit more, and I hope it does grow.
I'm just not convinced.
I'm in Game Pass. I have Game Pass. I hear you.
25 ain't good for him. That's
I just
good.
think it needs to do well. That's all. I mean,
no, listen, this is where I got to give E, because E's been patient.
shout out to E. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been very patient. Like, listen, at the end of the day, I've used the analogy. I don't go to the car dealership when they have a good deal and say, how am I able to get this deal at this price? I just don't do that. I'm like, oh, this is the deal. This is what you're offering me. Yes, please. Thank you. Can I have another? And that's it. So whether they choose to go out of business is their business. Like that's not
when you bought that Pontiac that was brand new and it was a good price, then they stopped supporting Pontiac after they said like Pontiac Go and GM. Well,
I'm all good though. I got my Pontiac. I got my Pontiac at the dealer at the price that I like. Right. And what happened to them is their business.
100%. But when you invest in that product,
I don't care about that. I care I left the lot with the deal I like. That's what I care about. All that, their sales and what happened to them, that's on them. I got the Pontiac though with the system and the rims.
All right. I get that. Yeah. There you go, E.
Hey.
You need a whistle.
I was just about to mute. I was about to mute. No, this is well. I'm learning why you got your reputation. First off, GK Bowles, $50 super chat. Warlocks are the best. Nice. Iron Lord podcast. I want to have your babies. Ebontis.
Wow.
Can you buy me a drink first?
See?
Ebontis.
You straight to the action.
And Ty Guy, of course, lots of hype. And yes, thank you, GK, for the super chat.
Salute,
Somehow an announcement about PlayStation's tiers has turned into a debate about the effectiveness of Xbox's Game Pass. Now, I'm not.
That's how they compete.
Which go hard?
No. Yeah, we're gonna actually take turns talking for a second here, as opposed to talking over everybody at the same damn time. Anyway, all I wanted to say is, if you look at something like the value of Game Pass, and somebody's like, "Hey, I've got a kid. What should I get him?"
Right.
Game Pass is an amazing value. Does that person care if Microsoft is making money? No, because they have to pay $120 for Windows every damn time they want to do it. And so it's like the grand scheme of their business is doing fine. PlayStation, they're doing a completely separate thing. Nintendo is on its own crazy island, somehow still making money because their IPs are amazing. They do make good games. All of those things oddly work. And when it comes to PlayStation, it is getting to a point to where, as you guys have said it perfectly, it is consolidation under the title of PlayStation Plus with different tiers. I'm kind of with you guys as well. I want to see what these 740 games are. The only ones that you're going to have to stream look like PS3. Everything else seems to be downloadable depending on what you're looking for. They still regret the cell processor to this day, which is so sad. But also on the other side,
my Vita games too. Continue.
And Vita, right?
Vita game. I ain't seen no Vita. Continue.
Oh, they had PS. Yeah, somehow they have PSP and not Vita. That is weird.
I love Vita.
But either way, it's like, typically like the whole, I mean, somebody said it in chat, should I be paying for backwards compatibility? That seems a little weird. And Xbox is doing has done some good stuff with backwards compat and FPS boost and all those things. Now they may have run out of options from, I feel like you guys have talked to somebody. There's only so much in that well that they can go to. There may be more as they get to it, but it's like they've done a lot for that. So PlayStation is feeling a little Nintendo-y when they're saying, hey, you want to play these old PS3 games? You got to pay for a subscription. How long is that one going to be? On the other side, we've got Xbox saying, hey, here's some old games, some new games, and some day one games. What Mooch is talking about is saying Starfield is a major moment. Halo was a moment. Forza was a moment. Those were no small feats. Now, granted, Halo, it's been talked enough to death. Obviously, the live service part of the model, I mean, you could have been in the delay the game camp if you wanted to at this point to see it come out with Forge. Yeah, exactly. See it come out with Forge, see it come out with...
fix the problem,
yeah,
which is that they weren't ready for games as a service model.
Yeah,
which
so it's like
that's the story of every games as a service game that's ever launched,
Destiny's trying to get feeling kind of good 8 years later. Somehow they've just limped into this point. So you've got all these pieces that work. The question is you, as Mooch, you said, you've got 30 studios. If Activision comes in with Call of Duty, and then you've got these other 30 studios that they can line up a games like a Marvel release schedule, that's going to make that thing an amazing value for day and date. And that's the point where PlayStation might be like, damn, that is a hell of a value. And and it's, you know, a couple years from now, that is just undeniable. But on the other side, PlayStation's going to go God of War. They're going to do whatever comes after that. And those $70 titles, like Returnal, is something that got enough acclaim. I'm glad to see that it is actually, like, it got a free expansion, and you have these little pieces that come on the other side. There are different ways to solve different problems. And honestly, this is something none of us are going to know the answer to for years. So it's like,
100%.
I was like, I'm very curious to see where all of this stuff lands. Because as you guys said, until I see that list of games, I'm not touching my PlayStation tier. Nope. And I'm more of a PlayStation guy than Xbox. I have Xbox. I have X. No, apparently not. Was like, but I got Game Pass as well, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Is like, I can jump on Tunic, I'll go on Steam, and I'll get Have a Nice Death, and then I'm gonna go turn around and play Elden Ring and go through all these different things. It's like I'm lucky at a point. But if somebody does turn and say, should I get an Xbox or should I get a PlayStation? Well, who's it for? Is it somebody that has disposable income and you like single player adventure games and you want to see this piece? Okay, that's probably a good thing. Do you have a kid and you want to give them Game Pass? There is not probably going to be anything better for a value for that kid, and they get to experience a bunch of stuff. And theoretically, with the acquisitions, it's going to last for a while. Like all access for Xbox, that is a stupid deal. That's how I bought my Xbox Series X. Yeah. I have a Series X down there that's like $35 a month, and I'm like,
you did all access.
Yeah, right. I was like, that's there was no. I was gonna get a Game Pass Ultimate anyway, just part of the package. And I'm paying it off faster. But I was like, there's no reason. It's zero interest. Hard to go wrong. So honestly, it's like
basically the same sticker price. You're right. There's no interest at all on that.
So it's like, honestly, when it came to the PlayStation Plus prices, from the rumors I saw when it was going to be like $60 for 3 months or whatever, I was like, all right, that looks terrifying. Please don't do that. I know it was a bad leak and the prices didn't even match up and it was fine. But when it finally dropped, I was like, all right, this seems reasonable. It's a different model. And I think at this point, since this got way off topic for a minute, I was trying to reel it back in. I do think however you choose to play your games at this point, you have a lot of options, and these companies are trying to build in value. And it's one of the best times to be a gamer, because wherever you are, it does seem like you're going to have access to a lot of things if you feel like getting into that subscription model, no matter which platform, because now they all seem to have a subscription model. So that was me trying to culminate this thing a little bit.
That was a really good round table assessment, I got to say, E. That was pretty damn good.
I was listening for a while. That's what happens when you don't talk.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he had it pinned
well, you know, Cognito knows too, because I mean, ILP can get loud too, and Crossfire is built on.
All our shows are like that.
It's just like that. So I apologize. That's the only way I've ever come up through the
your Crossfire was in just.
No, and that's.
I see what he doing.
There were a lot of chat messages that were like, well, "I need more yelling," and I'm understanding more of where that comes from because the heated debates. I've been on ILP. I've listened to ILP. I've listened to Crossfire. I know where it's coming from.
He knows.
But it's also
me and Mooch are from that. So it's
also the point where I'm not one who just wants to like bash my voice in between a couple of others. So I'm just gonna listen and wait. So.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny. No, E, you're 100% right. It's just so funny coming from like Conquests, where we just our shows stem from, and from the early days too, going way back, right? I mean, back in the day, you go way back. I mean, I'm with E. There was almost no point where you could get like it was just like 5 people, 6 people talking
over
over
each
each
other.
other, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember going back listening to the playthrough, and I was like, "Oh, now I heard what that guy said." You know what I mean? It was like, "Oh, okay, now it all pieced together." So,
Or
no,
he
shout-
like,
yeah,
Mike, check.
Mike, please, yeah, Mike. So shout out to E for the appreciate the that recap. Yes,
With the smoke as always.
that was
Oh
awesome.
yeah, it's a fun time to be a gamer. It's a fun time to be a Destiny gamer, and also with Elden Ring and Horizon and Starfield, which could be a game changer of RPGs. I mean, what we keep hearing about that sounds amazing. I'm gonna want to check it out. So I'm just excited for all of the stuff that we've got, and Destiny is at a point where it's playing nice that we can actually touch these other games and be like, cool. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I think that is probably a good place to wrap it up because this went longer than expected for everybody who's tired. But before we go, if you now know Mooch's voice, so now it's your turn to tell him where to find that voice.
Awesome, guys. By the way, outstanding panel, and I love it. Honestly, like I always say on my show, I'll say here too. Great to get difference of opinions. Really, I think it's one of the most important things. You know what I'm saying? And Cog, me and you, like I said, me and Cog have history that just goes way, way back. And
put two communities together because they didn't even want to have the discussion
100%.
of disagreeing.
Thank you, Cognito, because you remember that too. That was right.
Oh
remember
yeah, that was big.
That was big.
We weren't supposed to talk to each other. We were supposed to.
No, they're like, you can't
that?
talk to Cognito. I said, I absolutely am talking to Cognito about this, right? Yes. And he's been a dear friend ever since. I want to say that much too. And the whole ILP crew.
Salute.
So, and shout out to, give a quick shout out to King David and Lord Sav, and also the great
you had Attic ready to jump in. Attic was ready to tag in, boy.
I know. Oh, I know he was.
I told him to
Attic,
leave.
listen,
I was like, save yourself, dude.
That would have been another hour and a half.
Addict has like full reign to my Discord, so whenever we get into this, Addict just jumps on cross.
Jumps right in.
He just jumps right in,
He
which by the
loves
way,
it.
and by the way, E, I don't blame you, but I encourage Addict to always jump in on Crossfire. But no, I hear you, E. So shout out to everybody here. Great to meet Travis too. Always seen Travis on Twitter. Never got a chance to talk to him. Awesome guy. Appreciate all his honest opinions and his reviews. And Ebontis, just the man I always call. He's the Destiny guy. And I know there's a lot of there's a lot of Destiny guys out there, Mooch. I'm like, yeah, but you're my Destiny guy.
I appreciate that.
Shout out to Ebontis. Just a great overall show. You guys can find me over at Mooch TV. And I kind of rebranded it a bit because I wanted people to be able to find where I am. So it's Mooch TV. Drop the O's for zeros. It's M00CHTV, right? Well, somebody 15 years ago did Mooch TV. It's not my fault. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to keep up with the times. So naturally, right? And by the way, I should applaud that. I should applaud that Mooch, by the way. So anyways, it's Mooch TV everywhere. That's Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And guys, we go live tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you do want to hear a tad of yelling and a tad of loud voices.
Loud noises!
Loud noises! What are we screaming? So shout out to everybody that was here in the chat too. An outstanding chat you have here, guys, by the way. Everybody's just welcoming, very talkative. Made me feel right at home for my first time on the show. So I just want to say shout out to the chat. And guys, please go over, check me out on all those great social media spaces. And we'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow, Crossfire, 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Nice.
Out the Mooch in the building. Always good talking, Mooch. I tell you this, you're gonna get a great energetic show with Mooch. I'm telling you right now, you are thoroughly.
If this man had been playing Destiny for the past 4 or 5 weeks, would have been a different show. Would have been
100%.
Salute.
So we will have to have
I'll tone the yelling down if you guys will help me back on after I play a little windscreen. I'll turn it down. I can do that. We'll
get a repeat show in season 19 once we know all this PvP stuff. We'll get you back and we can have the PvP debate 2.0.
That sounds phenomenal.
Salute, man. Phenomenal show. Salute to the chat. Everybody pulling up, having a good time. Had a lot of fun, laughs. Do-rats. So what a show. Oh, it was a show today, for sure. But that's all I got, man. And Ian Trav, where can people find both of you? What's going on
with you, man?
You can read my articles, previews, and reviews on IGN.com. Small little website we're putting together. This week I did a preview for an interesting game made by an indie studio called Stitchheads called Superfuse. It's kind of like a Diablo inspired kind of ARPG that's superhero comic book themed. It's very interesting. You can read that online if you want. I'm also on a show on Sunday mornings called Bitcast where we talk about industry stuff. We are also joined by a lawyer named Richard Hogue. a industry vet named Ainsley Bowden, and a rapidly decaying corpse that mostly just lingers in the corner of the room and
Love you,
falls
Dave.
apart. Yeah, so I forget his name, but he's always there. Yeah, you can watch that on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. Pacific. Other than that, though, it's been awesome as always. Love hanging out with my Destiny fam, and follow me on Twitter at TyGuyTravis if you hate yourself. That's all I got.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, Cog, of course, always a pleasure to get a chance to catch up with you twice this week, though.
I
Please go
know.
check out Defining Dude Ultimate. That was a great. You guys got to see me in non-host form, so I got to talk a little more.
I let him talk, y'all.
Yeah, he let me. He opened the floodgates a little bit. But honestly, it's like when we got talking about Witch Queen. There's a lot of good to like, but wait to the end. We still, we save our moment where we still got to make sure the game still needs a little fixing around the edges. So definitely check out Defining Dude Ultimate Last Stand Media. Of course, please go hit the F5 button and put a bot on it for Travis's reviews. Blow up those numbers,
Yes,
please.
please blow it up.
I want to see those get really high.
Yes.
And please go check out Mooch.
Yes.
Heated debates,
Crossfire.
always very entertaining. So if you enjoy that
Spicy.
style, spicy chats will be coming tomorrow night. So please go check out
Yes.
Mooch and the Crossfire podcast. Always a fun group in there. Good mix of people. You've got always every time I check and
You
see
always
the
mix
list
it
on
up.
there.
Thank you, Ebontis.
Yeah,
Thank you.
always
Thank
on
you
it.
guys so much. Really,
Yeah.
truly means a
Gotta
lot.
give
And
you credit for that.
I got to tell you, I'm humbled for being on the show, man. This is a great show you guys
We
put
got
together.
the hold on. We not
Love
even
it.
gonna glaze over the fact we got the camera debut. Like
Thank
we
you.
got Mooch
Yes.
for the like
We got
salute,
Mooch
I'ma be
on
real.
camera.
I was like, I don't know
Thank
if we going. I'm
Oh
like,
no,
man.
Cog
Oh,
had
yeah.
lots of doubts.
I had it was an over bet on you, and I was
did you-
like,
did you
bro,
win?
it's not. Oh no, I lost now, but I was
Oh.
my money was stacking for months. I was like, yeah, it ain't
Oh.
happening.
Well,
So
listen,
when I
Ebontis-
said, oh, it's happening. So now salute to you, brother. Like
Thank
I
you.
know that's such a big deal. We know the type of community it is, but it's so cool to be able to put the face to the man, and then you see the expressive, you see raw
Yes.
that personality
Yes,
coming
yes.
out. You out here grinding the gears and twisting
what
the
it
buttons, and getting Travis to say, oh no, we gonna have to get into this debate right quick.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
already knew what was going on. I
Yes.
just shut up. I was like, I'm gonna see how
Yeah.
this gonna play.
I saw Cognito. He graded himself a drink, and he's just sitting back
Yeah, I just
watching
told you,
Travis go back
I
and forth.
know
It's great.
Trav.
I didn't know what I was walking into.
Yeah,
was
I don't
just
Travis
like,
know,
You
but
know,
I
that's
know
not
when
fair that
Trav has
Travis
had
didn't know.
enough, and he gonna jump in.
not fair.
So I said, "Oh, this he gonna jump. I'm just gonna sit back
Listen,
and let."
Travis, look
I
at
took the
I gotta be
headset
honest
off,
with you.
okay? I took the
I-
headset off.
I knew what
I
was gonna
love-
happen.
I love the way Travis discusses things, though. I gotta have him on Crossfire. This
You
man
better
has-
have Trav
he
on
is
Crossfire.
built for
He's
Crossfire.
built
Yeah.
for
Oh,
it. That
yeah.
man is built to debate.
So guess what? Yeah, Travis, I followed you immediately on Twitter. I am getting you on Crossfire. Doesn't have to be tomorrow. We'll work a date out. Like the same way Ebontis did. He was very patient with me. And by the way, shout out to Cognito for saying with the camera. Absolutely. We've been doing Twitch.tv. We've been doing cam for about a month and a half, 2 months
Okay,
now.
cool. My
So,
man.
but I
That's
got to
what's
give the props to Ebontis. He really said the same thing. He says, Mooch, you can come on in any way you want to, but really, this is how we do the show. And I said, listen, he said to me, why don't you come on weeks ago? I didn't have it set up yet. I said, listen, if you can wait for me, I'm going to do your show right. So thank you to Ebontis for his patience as well.
Yes.
Outstanding show. And, like I said, this may not be the typical last word, but man, I had a good time on tonight's show. And I'm talking about even the Destiny stuff was just phenomenal. Thank you guys for bringing me up to speed as well.
No doubt.
No, honestly, it's a good
Play
one
it.
for somebody to hear, as you said, who may have been lapsed, hasn't played for a while. Their addiction wore off for a little while. They got to see if they want to pick it back up.
That's right.
But yeah, for me, it's literally Ebontis everywhere: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Thank you guys for hanging. Streams have been a lot of Elden Ring, and then Destiny content, of course, on the channel. But it was an absolute pleasure. Shout out to chat. You guys have been amazing. All of the super chats, thank you for coming in. GK bows with the membership and a lot of super chats tonight. Thank you very much for all of the wonderful generosity. But it's been a pleasure. But we are going to wrap this one up here. So episode number 191. Wrapping up March 31st, finally kicking off spring with a spicy episode. Thank you guys very much, all of you, for being here. And for this episode, it has been the last word.
Last word.
We got the guests to do this.
We gotta move you there.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace.